into the day with the dawn ringing in my ears. Oh, I tune into my TV show. No better way, I gotta get myself into gear. Let's go. Oh, and I feel good today with my wake up in the morning espresso. I feel good today. It's my feel good breakfast show.
A very, very good morning to you, South Africa. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning. Thank you so much for choosing to start off your morning right here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso on SABC3. Ikamalam Guguhle Adams. Listen, it's hump day. I can't believe that it's halfway through the first week of March already. And you know what they say after hump day? It's straight down to the weekend.
It's the 4th of March. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. But my name is Jamie Domberg, reporting live on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. I mean, what a show, what a treat you're in for today. We are talking with Mel Jones today ahead of the Cape Town International Comedy Festival. It's going to be lots of fun, lots of laughs in studio this morning. And of course, it's a Wednesday, so it's time for that culinary hotline bling. Sing. Talking about all the staples in the home. And we are, of course, JP Sebastian is here to give us all the downloads on what's hip and happening in the movie scene. So remember to connect with us throughout our social media platforms. Expresso Morning Show, SABC3. We love to connect with you. We love to hear from you. But you know who we also like to hear from?
Who?
You know, those news headlines around the world. So let's check it out.
Thank you, ladies. Very good morning from my side. My name is Graham Richards. Welcome as we delve into our local headlines first. President Cyril Ramaphosa has said that it should come as no surprise that South Africa had once again entered a technical recession. Stats SA yesterday reported that the economy shrank by 1.4% in the last quarter of 2019, making for 2 successive quarters of negative growth. Meanwhile, it's not all doom and gloom for South Africans, with the announcement that petrol prices are set to drop from today. All grades of petrol will decrease by 19 cents a litre, while diesel will go down by 54 cents a litre. Then Africa's tallest skyscraper and one of the most exclusive hotels in Sandton, the Leonardo, opened its doors yesterday. The developers of the 55-storey high, 234-metre tall building say the 240-suite hotel and residences are ready for occupation. The 3 billion rand skyscraper is within walking distance of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange and retail hubs of Sandton. When construction began in January of 2016, 50 of the 240 apartments had already been sold. Further afield on the international front, dozens of women took to the streets of Malawi's capital on Monday to protest against sexual violence after a series of alleged police assaults on women last year. The protesters, most of them women, marched through Lilongwe in silence to mark the She Decides Day, a global movement launched in 2017 after organizations that talk about abortion were barred from receiving U.S. government funding. 21 million girls aged between 15 and 19 fall pregnant annually in developing regions, with 16 million giving birth. Then Pope Francis, who cancelled a Lent retreat for the first time in his papacy because he is suffering from a cold, has tested negative for the coronavirus, the Italian media reported yesterday. The 83-year-old Roman Catholic leader, who had part of one of his lungs removed because of an illness decades ago, also cancelled most audiences last week as well. He is taken ill at a time when Italy is battling a surging outbreak of the potentially deadly coronavirus, with 79 fatalities up to yesterday and some 2,000 confirmed cases. And now news of a free concert tomorrow on Green Market Square. The city of Cape Town will be hosting a free concert on Green Market Square tomorrow to revitalise the area, that after refugees who had been living there for several months were removed. The free concert will feature Jonathan Rebane, Don Vino, Candace Thornton and the Kiffness, featuring Matthew Gold, plus a mass salsa class on the square. The refugees were moved on Sunday in terms of a court order in a bylaw enforcement swoop, and traders on the square had complained that their businesses had suffered while the refugees were camping there. The area has been vacated as of Sunday and is now back to business on the square, one of the oldest venues in the country, and of course a significant tourism hub which also benefits local arts and craft traders. And now an item from the world of entertainment. Being the daughter of acclaimed rapper Kanye West and reality TV star Kim Kardashian is bound to set the creative juices flowing. 7-year-old North West recently took to the stage at Paris Fashion Week to perform during her father's Yeezy Season 8 fashion show, which had the crowd screaming and her mother beaming as well. And more on this a little bit later in our full entertainment report. Right now, let's delve back into our sports. kick it off with our World Cup watch. The final group stage match between the Proteas women and the West Indies in the ICC Women's T20 World Cup was abandoned early yesterday without a ball being bowled in Sydney. South Africa has, however, topped Group B and will face hosts Australia in the semi-finals tomorrow morning. And staying with the national teams, of course, the Proteas men will be in action against Australia in their second ODI, and that kicks off at 1 p.m. this afternoon. Then the International Cricket Council announced that South Africa will be the hosts of the Women's T20 World Cup in 2022. Proteas women automatically qualify as hosts, while the 7 highest-ranked countries in the T20 team rankings also receive automatic qualification. Details of the venues and dates have not yet been announced. Then the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, set to take place from the 24th of July to the 9th of August this year, could be postponed until later in the year because of fears over the coronavirus outbreak. Deadly virus has now spread to more than 70 countries and has affected numerous sporting codes, including football and rugby, and various motorsport races have also been cancelled. Japan's Olympic Minister Seiko Hashimoto will remain in talks with the International Olympic Committee about the global showpiece. On to football. Liverpool suffered their second consecutive loss, this time at the hands of Chelsea in the FA Cup 5th round match. The Blues secured a 2-0 win over the Reds at Stamford Bridge late last night to advance to the competition quarterfinals. The hosts opened the scoring in the 13th minute with a goal by Willan, and Ross Barkley slotting another in the second half to hand Chelsea the win. There'll be 3 FA Cup fixtures this evening with Man City, Tottenham Hotspur and Leicester City all in action. Matches kicking off from 9:45 this evening. That's where we leave our sport for now. Let's see how the weather's looking.
A very good morning to you. Now, to start off any day on a good note, it's best that we know what's happening with the weather so that we dress accordingly, right? But first, we have asked you to send in your sunrise pictures. Barbara Hall sent us this pink skyline from Constantia, where mainly sunny conditions are expected with temperatures that are not as warm as the day before, reaching a maximum of 25 degrees. We really do need a cool day in Cape Town, especially after the past few very warm days. Now, this one comes from Nancy Governor. She sent us this incredible one from Umgomaz in KZN, where plenty of sunshine is expected with clear skies and a slight breeze that picks up this afternoon, reaching a maximum of 28 degrees. We absolutely do love seeing those sunrise pictures. Please make sure to keep them going, keep them flowing on our social media platforms using the hashtag Expresso Show. Now to have a look at the rest of the temperatures for the country, starting off with the cooler start to the morning in Polokwane with a minimum of 12 degrees, reaching a maximum of 25. Now it's a partly cloudy day in Bombela with temperatures ranging from 14, reaching a high of 26. Pretoria, 13 is your low and 27 is your high for the day. And high humidity for Johannesburg with a minimum of 12 degrees, reaching a maximum of 26. It seems like that most parts of the country are starting off on lower temperatures today, so make sure just to cover up in the morning so that you can just take off your jacket a little later on to accommodate the heat. Mahikeng, your peak is 28 degrees with a low of 15, and Klerksdorp, 29 is your high for the day with a low of 14. Kimberley, 16:32, Bloemfontein, 13:28, and Richards Bay, 20:31. High humidity for Pietermaritzburg at 16 with the high of 30 degrees. It's a sunny day in Durban with northeasterly wind of 22 kilometers an hour with the minimum temperature of 21, reaching a maximum of 29. Now taking it to the Eastern Cape, starting off Mthatha. It's a sunny day in Mthatha with a high of 34 degrees and a low of 15, and plenty of sunshine for Emondi with the high of 33 and a minimum temperature of 22. And the highest temperature in the country goes to Kredok with a high of 37 degrees and a low of 14. Northeasterly wind of 17 kilometers an hour in Port Elizabeth with a minimum of 19, reaching a maximum of 34. George, your temperatures range from 16, reaching a peak of 32. Sutherland, 13:32, and northwesterly wind of 15 kilometers an hour in Cape Town with a minimum temperature of 18, reaching a maximum of 25. Worcester, 16:36, Springbok, 18:34, and Uppington, your low is 22, reaching a high of 35. Whatever the weather is in your part of the country, please make sure to have yourselves a fantastic Wednesday morning.
A fantastic morning indeed it's going to be right here in a Feel Good Breakfast show. I feel like Wednesday should now be considered boss days because that's the look for the day. As you can see, everyone is looking fly, but we are elevating our office wear and just making sure that you're looking chic for this Wednesday morning. Happy hump day to everybody. Today, I am going a bit different. You know, I always say I like to change things up a bit. So this is not actually a basic suit. It's actually a pants and then an oversized boyfriend blazer, which I then paired with a white t-shirt just to still give it that casual effect because I would really love to be in sneakers, but then I did pair it with a pair of heels just to make sure that it's chic, sophisticated, elegant as well, and make sure that you're boss mode. I feel like I'm the mini Ellen DeGeneres today, and we are, of course, having a nice quote from her today to get us just starting off this Wednesday. It is from Studio W, and as always, if you're getting inspiration from... Okay, Mama, come through. If you are getting inspiration from this look, you can shop this online, in-store, better yet. Download the Woods app right now and get all this looks and more, because this girl is also looking...
I'm also looking snatched, okay?
Boss Wednesdays, that's what I just called it. I renamed the entire show to Boss Wednesdays because the workwear that Woolworths is coming through with is just looking...
It's immaculate, it's amazing, it's beautiful, it's sexy, it's cool, it's light. I love how we paired our casual t-shirts, you know, with this very, the polka dot skirt. Black and white is a classic, it always works. So however you want to accessorize it, it's definitely going to work out either way.
I like the fact that you did a pop of color with the shoes today, because you know sometimes people's like black and white classic, but then you can always play around with accessories. Your earrings are pretty cute.
Thank you very much. Love them. I stole them from
I just wanted
wardrobe,
to tell everyone where you got the earrings. She stole it out of my wardrobe, but it's fine. We share. Sharing is caring, and I love it. I love it.
Thank
you.
you.
I feel like they need to see the back of the skirt as well because it's doing a whole side little vibe there.
It does. This cute little detail. Beauty. You know, it's like simple but with a twist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Chomi, as you can see that with my makeup, I'm looking snatched, I'm looking beat for the guas. However, the difference today is that I'm not wearing any lashes, and a lot of people think that people need to wear lashes every single day, especially being on screen, because it does add that, you know, elevated kind of look. So Bernice, if you would join us this morning.
Hi, Felicity.
Hello.
So what are we going to be doing this morning?
As you can see, your makeup is actually quite nice and natural and glowy and fresh for the morning. So, and since you said you're not doing lashes, so we kept it nice and natural. This is actually Anel's look today. I did Jamie's makeup, but I'm just gonna add a little bit more brown to the inner outer corners of your eyes, just for a little bit of warmth.
I love it. Yesterday, Tabisa and I were speaking about like your lip versus your eyeshadow makeup. Do you prefer like a bold lip and a bold eye, or would you then like switch it up and go for a bold lip? You could let.
Me.
Girl,
a bold lip or a bold eye?
Yes.
Bold eye with a very subtle lip. That's how I do it.
Yeah.
But you can definitely explore and do it vice versa to just add that little bit of zazz. But for example, particularly with this look, it's all natural and I feel light and I feel pretty. My face is open. You can see every single detail when it comes to the makeup. And with the eyeshadow, it's not heavy at all. And that's why I feel like I don't need to wear lashes this morning.
Guys, all I'm saying is Boss Wednesdays right here on your Feel Good Breakfast show. We look dressed, our faces beat, and now we have a chore for Graham.
Trust me, working with you ladies, looking that good, it's no chore this morning. Thank you so much, Bernice, for completing the look there as well. So, yes, it is a bit of a chore this morning. We are talking about, in our parenting chat a little bit later, the importance of doing chores. I was one of those kids who was kind of put to work really early, but it does help to build character, and there's a lot of kind of socializing skills that tie into that as well. Learning the importance of doing hard work and playing your part. So we're asking you guys this morning to connect with us with some of the chores that you were put to work to do when you were a youngin'. Today, we are emphasizing the importance of household chores, and we want to know from you what you were roped into doing when you were a child. Maybe in my case it was always like cleaning the pool. Now it made me feel like a man because I was the guy taking care of the household. I absolutely loved that. But maybe there's something that you're really good at. Maybe you still do the chores at home. You can let us know on all of our social media platforms. We love to connect with you. Stay connected with us throughout the morning. We'd love to hear from you, and of course maybe post some pictures. Maybe you're putting your child to work this morning. You can send us a picture or a video. We'd love to hear from you. So we are going to be having a huge amount of fun. I've just seen some comedy heavyweights stepping into the studio. The Cape Town International Comedy Festival is here. We're going to be introducing you to some of the superstars that are going to be gracing our stages. We're going to be back in the kitchen. It's the Culinary Hotline, bling! Ting, ting, ting! And you guys have weighed in with some amazing, as you do, being the amazing home foodies that you are, with some great comments and some questions. Chef Chart and I will be delving into as many of those as we can. And thank you so much for joining us for a feel-good kickstart your Wednesday morning. You don't want to stray too far.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, all you beautiful people, right here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show on SABC3. Man, are you in for a treat this morning? The comedians have just stepped in ahead of the Cape Town International Comedy Festival, and we are already laughing. But as always, we like to start off your day with some positivity and a quote.
Yes.
Now, today, the quote comes from none other. I did mention before that we are getting our quote from Ellen DeGeneres, other known as Ellen. She's a comedian turned actress, very popular for a TV show host. And also, she's always spreading positivity. She always says, be kind to others. But today she has some other wise words of wisdom. What is she saying, Mama?
Absolutely. She says true beauty is not related to what color your hair is or what color your eyes are. True beauty is about who you are as a human being, your principles, your moral compass. And that's it. So it just goes above and beyond your physical appearance. It's all about your personality, who you are as a person, and where and how you value yourself.
I like that. I think so often especially in today's age with social media and everything, people first seeing that physical beauty first,
Yes.
knowing who you are on the inside will just resonate with how you are on the outside. So if you stay true to who you are, automatically you'll become a beautiful person.
Absolutely, Jamie. I couldn't have said it better. And that is our quote for the day. Hopefully we have inspired you to kickstart your hump day, your Wednesday morning on a very good note. But we have other people to help you start your day on a very good note.
Yes, since 1996, for 16 years, unbelievably, the Cape Town International Comedy Festival has introduced some of the biggest names in comedy to South Africa, given us an opportunity to laugh, and it feels like it kind of joins the brotherhood of Earth together. We all want a reason to laugh, and we've seen the likes of Jim Jeffries, Jimmy Carr, Russell Peters, and we've loved it. And now the biggest comedy festival is making a comeback, and it's bringing back comedy for every taste, representing every global trend, and some absolute heavyweights in comedy. Joining us to share more on this local and international comedy lineup is one of our local giants, Mel Jones.
That's why you come to me.
Stuart Goldsmith, Alonzo Bowden, and Sindhu V. Please give them a very warm Expresso welcome this morning.
Yeah, let's clap ourselves.
Yes.
Our cameramen tried to give you a rousing welcome. They did well. I think you could try a little bit harder. Mel, you look like you're about to start your first day of school. You're so excited. You're so happy.
I am. Listen, I'm not looking like I started my first day at school because my first day at school was terrible. Because I wasn't very good at school. Because creatives aren't very good at school. But I'm excited because I don't have to go to school anymore. That's why I'm excited.
But we're not sending that message. If you want to be a successful star comedian like Mel, you have to finish school. You can study it even at school.
No, I did finish school. I mean, I did, but then I got to do what I love. So I got the best of both worlds.
And you still do what you love. You're one of our favourite human beings. We absolutely love you on the show. So thank you so much for coming back. How excited are you to be back on stage with this amazing lineup?
Super excited. I mean, look at these people. They're amazing. They're international. So you don't get to play with the internationals very often. And that's probably why I'm most excited. And I love, because we're doing book club, I'm part of the book club team. So a bunch of females on stage just having a lekker skinner. And there's just so much to be said about local comedy. And then you add a little bit of international spice. And then that just makes the best. I'm obviously hungry because I'm thinking about food.
Well, you're right, we will cook. This is the one advantage of being on a breakfast show is we do make breakfast. Most important question, do any of you know what lekker skinner means?
No idea. I picked up on those. I knew there's this thing I don't know there, and it could be anything, so I don't know.
It's a good old gossip.
A lekker skinner.
A lekker skinner, and you can use that. Do you have to use local stuff when you come to an international festival like this? But Cape Town is like its own little country within South Africa.
Sure.
It's a different world out here. How do you embrace a localized audience?
Well, I think at the end of the day, comedy's about the people who are in the room. It's a very live and visceral sort of thing. So sometimes it helps if you do know a lekker skinner, if you can throw in a little thing like this. Someone said to me yesterday about just now. And so I went on and they explained that just now can mean any time whatsoever. So then I immediately went on stage like 2 minutes later and said, I've got comedians. I'm hosting the show, the UN comedy show. So I said, I've got comedians coming up in the second half of the show just now, which is know, and I've just learned means it could be immediately in a few hours or whenever the hell I say. So it's nice to know some details, but it's all about the people in the room.
I just learned what just now means right now.
Right
just
now? Will you
just
use
now
it?
I learned what just now means. So, no, I
Will you
think
use
it's
it now
more fun.
or just now?
Just now.
Now's a whole other thing.
I think it's more fun when I say something completely wrong. And they know, like, you're not from here, you don't know any, so I'll make a reference or I'll say something, and they just look at you like, what are you talking about? To me, that's fun, because now I got to make that work.
Just for yourself, then.
Yeah, it's fun for me.
Why not?
It's fun for me.
I think it was very easy. I just got on stage and went, yaw. And everyone was like, yes, she knows us. It was fun.
And you do the serene face. I've seen that, the serene face all the
She's
while.
so serene.
It actually calms everyone down. It actually calms the whole room down.
Not my reputation in my family, but okay, I'll take it.
I just have visions of you coming onto stage and just standing there for 5 minutes.
Yeah, she doesn't walk, she glides. Her legs don't move at all. She just zooms like something off Doctor Who.
Come to think of it, I didn't actually see you walk into you were just on the couch.
No, you have powers.
Apparently, but I'll
powers,
take
you
it.
can
This is so
glide.
much positive talk early in the morning. Please keep it coming. Don't stop now. I think if you told my husband that I was serene and made people calm, he'd be like, are we talking about the same woman? But anyway.
We love the energy that a collaborative effort, because it becomes a collaboration, even if you're out there there doing your own thing. You're still part of a festival environment. Maybe, V, I can put that to you, that the vibe you've been in, Edinburgh Festival, you tend to like this kind of collaborative space. What does it offer you that a kind of standalone stand-up doesn't? Why is it so cool to do a festival like this?
I think the single biggest thing is that you're with other comedians, and there's a certain energy constantly, because everyone is either done a bit, or they're doing their show, or they're part of a build. So there's this constant
sort of complaining energy.
That too. But also there's a kind of a camaraderie. Like when you come off of a bad gig, you can just come right into your people and talk about it. And they'll all blame the audience. Obviously, it's always their fault.
I was going to ask, what's it like to have a bad gig?
You don't even know what that is.
Find out just
Heard
now.
about it.
That's when you develop the serene face. It's just
No, I think it's wonderful to be with other comics. And also, I find that during festivals, audiences are particularly primed. They're there to watch comedy.
Yeah.
It's very, very different than just going to a club on a Friday where someone's on a date and they don't even know why you're on stage talking.
Rev them up, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful thing. I feel very lucky. And to have a festival in a place you've never been to, I've never been to South Africa. Cape Town is great. It's, yeah, I mean, you're safe because all your comic friends are there. And then you're like, oh, let's go do something. I don't know, are we going to see sharks?
Yeah, if we can fit them in amongst the early morning
We
TV
might do some
stars.
I don't even
Do you have a shark?
Yes, we have a pet shark and an elephant and a lion, as everyone does.
No, but I just think, when you're out here, you do other stuff that you wouldn't otherwise do, and then you come home to your comedy people and you do your comedy.
Lastly, I'll ask you, Elijah, do you have to study a place that you're going to for something like this? When you say you like to be different, and
No. I pick it up walking around. I love walking around a city when I get there because you can kind of just pick up a vibe of the people. I like to read local news and see if there's anything going on in that city that I can talk about, or that I can. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. But coming from the U.S., it's kind of like I have to explain our stupidity before I go into anyone else's. But I like to pick it up there, looking at. From the outside looking in, or looking at a historic thing about the city, that doesn't do it for me. I want to see the people, talk to the people, I love going to a mall. A mall is like the modern town square where you just see all types of people. Yeah, they all collide. Like all the, the different people of a city, they collide at the mall where they're shopping and stuff like that. So that's how I like to pick it up.
I'm sure you're going to find with great relish that the American stupidity matches the South African stupidity. There's a bit of a global trend at the moment. You're going to love it. We love having you guys here. Thank you so much for joining us, because I know you all kind of live nocturnally, so to get up for a breakfast show is quite special.
Thank you. That's very good. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
I'm going to say,
as you say that,
we are trained to do this. I think we all do, because you always do morning press. So as a comedian, you're like, okay, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to be funny for 2 hours, then I'm going back to sleep, and then I'm going to get up at night and be funny again.
Our show is 3 hours long. Please warn me.
No, you're only getting two.
And Stuart, you pick up the baton. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. You're going to stick around all morning. We've got a lot more time with our comedians. A little bit later on, we're going to delve a bit deeper into what it is that they do back in their respective comedy communities and countries. And if you want to catch them live in action in Mzansi, of course, at the Cape Town International Comedy Festival, it's going down at the Artscape Theatre. And you can check out all of the shows on the lineup and pick the ones that you want to. Go to CapetownComedyFestival.com is where you can find all the information, and you can book your tickets right now at webtickets.co.za.
birthday to you.
To you. When you're at a time, you know it's time to wish you at home a happy birthday. But welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show right here on SABC3. If you are celebrating your birthday today on the 4th of March, then you're celebrating your birthday with a pretty cool person today, which is Brooklyn Beckham. For those of you who don't know him, he's British model, he's a photographer, but he's also the son to David Beckham and model and fashion mogul Victoria Beckham. Hey,
Just look at David.
I mean, I'm your stepmama.
How old is he?
He's turning 21 years old today, guys. Can you actually believe that?
Was he not born yesterday?
I know. I feel like
Children age so quickly.
we raised him. I feel like we as South Africa raised him because he was here not too long ago, obviously doing his international tour to raise funds for global citizens. But it's nice to wish him happy birthday. So I know you're watching today, Brooklyn. They're at home in England, so happy birthday, Brooklyn.
He's watching on YouTube,
Yeah,
right?
he's streaming in live. Because Mal's here with us.
Yes, now too.
He wants to meet his granny. Because that's how I feel right now. Like, he's 21. I feel like I'm so much older than I actually am.
Oh my
Bless,
goodness,
bless.
but you don't look a year older than him.
That's why I tell people I'm older, so they can have that response. Thank you. Thank you.
It's a
I
pleasure,
appreciate
girl.
that.
Anytime, anytime. Now to more celebrities, and those are you, our loved and loyal viewers. This is a very special birthday, 15th birthday to Nontobeko, and you received a very special video from Umakama, so let's check it out.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Love it.
I love it. Just like to you, man.
To you.
Yes. I'm not going to look at you, but I will wish you happy birthday.
And I will point at you.
Yes.
But guys, there's so many that we need to get through though. So let's kick it off with to Katiso. Happy birthday to my son Katiso. May God keep on blessing him with all his heart's desires. And this comes from mommy and the whole family. We love you so much, my boy. Look at that cutie pie. And then a happy 48th birthday to my mommy Cynthia Williams. May God make your wishes come true. I hope you will enjoy every moment of it from mama, kids and grandkids. And now, Mel, you have a very special job right now.
Yes.
You're going to wish.
I have to wish Liam Yetu a happy 6th birthday to our sweetheart. Hoping you have a good day. Lots of love from Daddy, Oma, Auntie Ross, and Auntie Jackie. And then to Christina, happy birthday, happy glorious birthday. So not just a normal average birthday.
It's glorious.
Glorious.
The greatest hero in the whole wide world. Oh, superpowers. Christina, I can't you pronounce the surname, I can't. As you clock 70 today.
Wow.
Grief. And also, I don't know why we're putting ages in there. I wish you all your heart yearns now and beyond from the girls, Poppy, Nale, Wanga, Azwi, and Minky.
Oh, wow. Happy 70th birthday to you, Christina. This one goes to Rochelle. Happy 25th birthday. Have a nice day. We love you from your mother, boyfriend, Xavier, Nahum, and mother-in-law. Happy birthday to you. And Mafisha is celebrating a big one, you guys.
Wow.
A very blessed 95th birthday to Mafisha. We, as a family, are so blessed to still have you in our lives.
Aww.
May our Lord God keep showering you with his blessings every day of your life. Love from your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren. We have so much love for you. Enjoy your special day with your family and friends. Great.
And then Lincoln, also there's a lot of 6th birthdays, like twins all over the place. 6th birthday, Lincoln Harper. Have a blessed day from your mommy, daddy, brother, auntie Anthea, uncle Dayron. Okay, go. And we love you so much. And to Jeanette, wishing my sister Jeanette a happy 18th birthday. Whoop,
That's a big one, eh?
Yes, have a great one. Lots of love from your sister Janelle and nephew Jordan.
Of course, if you are celebrating your birthday today, then happy birthday. But if you want to send in a video about 10 to 15 seconds, then WhatsApp that to us on 071 640 6551, or better yet, email us at birthdays@cordova.tv. But from all of us and the beautiful Mal Jones, a happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Okay, sweetie, time to blow out your candles.
Don't ruin the moment. Prevent allergies or cold and flu with fast-acting powder nasal spray from the Nexa range. Nexa, brought to you by Pharma Dynamics.
Funny, man. So So if you're getting ready to sell your home, you've probably made a list of items to tackle around the house, maybe declutter the rooms, paint the walls, fix any broken or worn items. Maximizing the visual appeal of your home is essential when you want to sell. But there's one very important task to add to that list, making sure that your home had a scent that will please the masses. We all have that olfactory kind of attachment to some particular smell. It makes us feel a particular way. And in the kitchen to give us a few tips is Chef Chart. Charti.
Good morning.
This is quite unconventional. When I came in here and I saw the cotton wool and the light bulb, I thought, oh, it's just another day with Chart. But take nothing away from this. It's an amazing trick, and I've actually gone into a house where someone had vanilla pods in the oven, or creating the smell. You want to create these beautiful smells, but whether you're selling a house or not, whether you're just wanting to beautify, just make a more conducive living environment, you've got some great. Can I call them kitchen hacks?
Well, I suppose a kitchen in a sense. I mean, all these things, generally come out of the kitchen as well. I mean, they generally are. And it's one of those things you do. You want this sort of sensual experience. And I think the kitchen is such a sensual place at home, and how much we relate to. So just having a look there. I mean, the aroma here. I mean, I wish everyone could smell it at home because it is just so comforting here.
So let's start this corner because I'm on the vanilla corner, and that's the first thing that kind of wafted and hit me. Vanilla is one of our favourite scents.
Oh, absolutely. It is something that is just so magical. We put it into bakes, we put it into cookies, and you can put it into food as a whole. So there's lots of different things you can do with the vanilla. And vanilla, you've obviously all the pods, but like extract or essence, it's really got the punch. More so if you want to keep it natural, go for the extract, not the essence. Remember, essence is completely manufactured, where extract is actually from the actual pod itself.
Just drop my keep stage. I mean, that's a massive thing.
So like that, you can obviously put into the oven and allow the oven that heat, to start to permeate through the home. Or you could go and, I mean, where these things are great, is go and dab that in. So I mean, imagine you've got little kids, you got little ones, or a little one, another one on the way. But imagine going to hide those in different places in the house, behind the curtains.
Just out of reach of little hands.
Well, absolutely.
Where cats can get hold of them.
Get rid of the animals and all the rest of it as well.
You even drop a little bit of into like your dishwashing liquid.
Absolutely. Anything that sort of, where it really works is the application of heat. But also you got to be very careful as well that you don't go too far, because you can often start to burn it and you get that sort of, that rancid kind of smell as well. And that's when you start looking at things like your spices. So, you got star anise, cloves, cinnamon, nutmeg, and a bit of ginger. Think of your warm, or what I term as, these are your sweet spices.
They warm you up in winter. I think of sitting around a fire in winter, all wrapped up.
Yeah, and you're going to think of things like spices like that go into your glue vine. Does that make sense?
100%.
You like a bit of glue vine, that hot red wine, for those who enjoy that there. That's what you got. So your cloves, that really does work well. Again, you could make a bit of a paste with say your cinnamon or a little bit of nutmeg, bit of water, and then bake that in the oven as well.
My fiance coming to the house. What are you doing? The house smells great, but what on earth are you doing? Why have you got a light bulb here?
Well, because I had one of those moments. But taking that, a light bulb, just brush it with a little bit of essential oil. Almond oil, again, vanilla, an oil. So you want an essential oil, and then pop it on. And again, that heat is going to start to diffuse the actual aroma.
Creating your own little diffuser with that, a diffuser with your light bulb.
Exactly. Everything's a diffuser of in some form or another. So light bulb, that, even with pine cones. I mean, they've got that aroma. I mean, imagine to burn those up as well. You really intensify it.
All very European as well. This is feeling like a European winter.
Well, I suppose it is. You have this association. We all have an association as well.
Completely.
I mean, imagine things like coffee. I mean, we all love a coffee in the morning. Again, the grounds of coffee, that aroma, or just a steeping away on the side works well. I believe personally, always it works really well if you're trying to sell your home, is bread. Freshly baked bread. Oh, you cannot beat that smell. It is
just having
amazing.
These kind of spices and the cloves and things, wafting through the house. It's going to smell like something's been baking. It's going to make people feel relaxed.
Well, that's what it does. It's exactly what the whole objective of these aromas there. You just go and they're like, oh my goodness, I can relate it to what it's like at home. But as I said, imagine making just, flour, water, just throw these spices in, mix it up, bake it. Done.
Bake some, offer them a scone as they leave the house as well. You say, yeah, freshly baked, just for you. I'll tell you one thing that this has made me feel is really hungry. So I'm going to ask you to stick around so we can actually delve into some culinary conundrums a little bit later. I think that was incredibly insightful. Thank you so much. Next up, we're going to talk about 5 kitchen staples in your home that will make your life so much easier. More kitchen hacks coming. And remember, we love to hear from you, so please continue to post any comments, any questions for our culinary team on our social media pages. Just scanning through some of them this week. They have been superb, so thank you so much and keep them coming.
Find yourself daydreaming of fairy tale lands, paradise beaches, and glamorous cities? With a sprinkle of magic, TravelStart is making your travel dreams come true. Their Dream Week sale is finally here. Get ready to mark your calendar from the 2nd to the 6th of March 2020 and sign up for great savings to mega cities. Chase those pinch me moments with travelstart.co.za.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, all you beautiful people, right here on your Feel Good Breakfast show. As promised, I said we are bringing in movie guru JP Sebastian to give you the lowdown on what's happening on the movie scene. And here to finally, I think me and Chrisley, our prayers have been answered. We finally have a romantic movie. Hi, Sebastian.
Like, why is there some sort of... I do not control Hollywood. This is up to them. Who seems particularly interested in this?
I feel like you select the movies and then you always select...
So maybe I'm at a weak point in my life, yes. Maybe this is a cry for help.
Do you want to tell us something?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
so
well I want you to tell me something. Do you prefer a guy to come on strong, or do you prefer like to things sort of like, I don't know, slowly emerge?
It depends.
Okay, well maybe you'll
Depends
be
how I'm
into
feeling.
Lakeith Stanfield, who obviously a lot of us remember him. His first time was Get Out, where he was the scary dude in the hat and all that kind of stuff, blood down the nose and whatever. But here he is being a heck of a lot more romantic than a horror movie. In The Photograph, this is the first time he decides he's going to draw a line in the sand, take the stab, and ask the girl for drinks. So just so you know.
Let's check it out.
I didn't know you were coming.
You were supposed to invite me.
I'm sorry. Next time. What did you think about the movie? To be honest, I was a little distracted.
What?
So I kept running back in my mind how you might respond to me asking you for a drink after.
So that was you asking me? That was elaborate.
In my mind, it wasn't that forward. You know what I mean? It was more smoother than that.
This is my kind of movie. My kind of movie, screaming. I feel like Kusle is also screaming at the back somewhere, like, that isn't. But of course,
she did a tiny victory dance.
Yeah,
Very, very surprising.
I like to see the different side of the elements too when you bring a movie. So what is the details with regards to this movie?
So what's different about this for me for a good start is, well, firstly, it's a black romance, which is great to see. Usually, a lot of these romance with, say, African-American people, they're under-budgeted, they're underfunded or whatever, and they're not given the sort of light of day that they deserve. And sometimes the stories they need, like, ooh, mansby trifling, kind of like, there's always infidelity, there has to be a love triangle, there has to be, like, you know, all that kind of stuff.
But this is Tyler Perry kind of a vibes.
Yeah, which are like reliably badly written. This, on the other hand, is so much more breezy, and as you could see from the interaction there, as well as getting a taste of the kind of chemistry that Issa Rae, who you're looking at there, as well as Lakeith Stanfield have, is so much more natural. And I think what is refreshing is that, you know, he's a bit awkward. He's not a total like nerd or goof or something like that. But men aren't all, you know, 8-pack Idris Elbas. I'm sorry, I can't be that for you, South Africa. But there's only one dude for that job.
And we love you for that.
Okay, sure, I'll take that. I'm sure that's pity love. But anyway, so it's great that it feels a lot more organic than a lot of the stuff that's like very much cookie cutter kind of situation. So the story being is that Issa Rae is still digging through her mother's old possessions because she's just recently passed away. Her mother, however, has been estranged from her for many years, doesn't know who she is really, was kind of vacant, or what's the word, distant, even in the times that they did spend together. And Michael Block, who is played by Lakeith Stanfield, is a journalist who is connected to the story of the mother in the past, who you're looking at there, because he is trying to discover things about people living in the South, what they went through as regards a cataclysm that happened there because of the oil disaster and whatever. And then as a side story to that, he finds out about this interesting young black photographer who back in the day made her way into New York City and thought that she was going to make a life there and a career there. But why did she magically leave behind this other person who might also be significant to Issa Rae as the movie goes along? So it's, you know, the entanglement of the past and the present, and what Issa Rae's character is very interested in is, you know, is this who I become? Like, it's great that it's not just, you know, it's nice that it's straight down the line romance, that it's simple, that, you know, it does the trick. It's got the cherry on top and everything.
Selling the story.
But at the same time, she has these very real human concerns. Do I become like my parents? Will I abandon the people I love? You know, is there room for me to forgive a person like that? Why was my mother behaving this way? And then obviously, with the help of this journalist, in part, she discovers those sides of herself and also ways to, I think, make peace really with the past that her mother put her through.
Can I just say she's very underrated? I feel like she's one of the most underrated actresses.
You know her from?
I know from Insecure, but also on the comedy scene a lot. We've seen her with Tiffany Haddish in Little as well. So now the fact that she's doing such like commanding roles, it's her time.
And quite dynamic, yeah. Rather than just being, you know, shoved in a corner and being like, oh, you're going to be the comedy goof for the rest of your life. Good for her to try and, you know, exercise some sort of versatility. Also, someone like Lakeith Stanfield, who, like I said, was actually super scary in Get Out for just that one tiny scene that he did. He was also in Sorry to Bother You, which hasn't come to South Africa yet, but apparently is remarkable. So he's a great actor, and he does the job here too, even if he mumbles a bit. But all of that aside, though I said, you know, you've got this complexity of the character trying to discover, is she going to just fulfill the sins of the mother kind of thing? Is she just going to walk the same path? Is she going to be able to commit to something with this guy? Is she even interested in that? Can they even last in the present day? I don't think that, you know, pays enough attention to the past, so it jumps between present and past.
Okay.
And the past is actually a lot more compelling because you got the sense they're very much revealing, digging up.
Which is good. It always gives like a background to what the present is.
The mystery is nice, but then on the other side, the sort of relationship in present day is kind of rote, by the numbers kind of thing. Okay. However, what fortunately does give it some sort of flourish is the music. And who I'll show you a little clip of here is the jazz artist Robert Glasper, who is incredible. We've had him at the Cape Town International Jazz Festival. I had the privilege of talking to the dude, super nice. And he has to almost, in a way, be the third voice in the awkward silences in the date. So whenever, you know, they like trying to talk about their favorite rapper or whatever, almost in a way, best supporting actor would go to Robert Glasper, who's the pianist, and then the bassist is on the other side, etc., etc. So they flesh out the awkward silences. But he'll do more of the explaining for you. Here's Robert Glasper talking about his work on the photograph as the composer.
Okay.
name is Robert Glasper. I'm the composer of this amazing film, The Photograph.
Having Robert score it takes every scene to a different level.
A lot of times when I'm scoring a movie, people say, that's too romantic, it's too mushy. So now I get to be romantic and mushy.
When they showed the movie for me and I was hearing the music, I was like, yo, I can't wait to download the soundtrack.
All right, we're rolling.
Robert Glasper's music really builds on the emotion, it builds on the romance.
I just try to capture the themes of different characters and then make variations of that theme.
With May, there's like a certain piano. With Michael, there's this bass line. Or when you're moving into the past, there's a theme.
Stella's great. She's open to trying things. Play a little bit and then go back to the melody again. And it's my job to get her vision out to the rest of the world.
Yeah, it's a movie for the soul, but I'm even too scared to ask you, how would you rate it? How many popcorns for this one, JP Sebastian?
Like I said, pretty much wrote on the surface and could have done itself a lot more of a service for the interesting backstory to it all, but 6 out of 10 is what I can give a romantic movie, which, you know, in the wave of like 8 other romance movies that are going to follow this is pretty good.
And this is being released this Friday, correct?
Yes, indeed. Do yourself a favor. Both of them sweet enough chemistry together, and like I said, that score is beautiful. The soundtrack, in fact, like the dude said, you're going to want to go out and buy immediately Robert Glasper, because you've got some great names in there. Anderson Park, you've got The Internet, you've got Mos Def, etc., etc. It's all good music, and it has to be, because it's a third voice in a romantic movie.
Love, love, love. 6 out of 10, not too bad. We're definitely calling Date Night Friday when the photograph is being released. But JP Sebastian is going to be a year little later with more trailers for movies coming out soon. So stick around for that.
I love having Mel here because I can poke fun. Do you know what it is, Mel? I kind of feel like when you're here, I have to try to be funny, and because you're so funny. It is. It's crushing pressure. You don't understand because you're just so funny.
Which is why I'm single, because every guy I ever date goes like, I can't be funnier than you. I was like, that's not what. I got that. You be whatever else you need to be. So
what my thing? I can make
I'll
you
be
coffee.
funny for the both of us.
I can be useful. Let me be useful. That'll be my thing this morning.
So can you pass it on to every man ever, please? That they can all just be useful.
Just to wake up and make you coffee, right?
Would you like a very special additive? We've got some beautiful syrups that you can add. Hazelnut or caramel.
Oh,
my favorite.
Can we have a combination of hazelnut and caramel?
We can do that, actually. That's very interesting.
Hazelmel.
Hazelmel.
Hey!
You see? Oh, she just sets it up and slams it down. Mel's going to stick around. We're talking Cape Town International Comedy Festival and the book club. You're going to make that really funny for us in just a moment. We'll see now.
Rise and shine. There's no better way to wake up other than with Mackie D's for breakfast. Download the McDonald's app for delicious daily deals and start your day the right way.
Tropical Island of Treasure is back for a 9th season, and this time around we're coming to you from the Dutch Caribbean island of Curacao. Here, 6 celebrities and 6 smooth fans will pair up to compete for fame and fortune and the smoothest treasure of all, a shared 1 million rand. 3, 2, 1, go! Catch the new season of Tropical Island of Treasure Curacao every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. from the 3rd of March on SABC3.
welcome back, you beautiful souls. Thank you so much for tuning in. You are live with Expresso on a really good day to be joining us live because we have got some of the funniest people in the world in Cape Town as we speak. Yes, I'm talking about you. Please give another warm welcome. Mel Jones, Sindhu V, Alonzo Bowden and Stuart Goldsmith. And they have brought the funny and they will continue to bring the funny en masse because the Cape Town International Comedy Festival, I'm realizing more and more, is an opportunity for South Africans to see comedy that they might not see anywhere else. This is a combination of comics, a combination of styles of show. It's awesome. The book club doesn't sound that funny, Mel. I won't lie. It's a book club, man.
What books are you reading?
I don't know. Exactly.
Also, everybody knows that book club's not about book club.
It's about wine, isn't it?
So book club is a reason for women to say, like, listen, we're going to go to the book club, we're going to discuss the books. We never discuss the books.
Not at all. Glass of wine.
If we don't drink, then we have a bit of a lekker skinner.
A lekker
We
skinner.
have it's about women getting together and talking about things that women want to talk about. And I think that's what that's supposed to mean.
And I actually just want to expand on that a little bit more. You're on the lineup alongside Sindhu, and how does it feel to be a part of this?
I'm going to sound so cliche, but I feel like I'm really honored to be chosen to perform amongst like the ranks of. Do you know what I mean? Because it's I'm just this little girl from Mitchell's Plain who did comedy when comedy wasn't very popular for women, and now I get to play with some really cool names on an international stage in Cape Town, which is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm excited.
So, Sindhu, you're part of the book club as well.
I'm so excited.
You're ready for a lekker skinner.
I'm ready for lekker skinner. I'm ready for comedy that has an all-woman lineup. Not because men can't be funny. Sometimes they can. But
for 2-hour stretches.
Wow. No, I didn't say that. That's your words, not mine.
That's more than enough.
But I also think that when you have an all-women lineup, you get all kinds of things. And I think the audiences often are... There's a lot of women in the audience. And you can really make observations about things that women get and men might get, but you don't care because they're not there.
But it's also, I mean, it's cool to have guys setting up the funny for a female comic, but it's got to be so much better when you are with people that you can relate to and the material that you're talking about, it's authentic. There's something that's unmistakable. How do you swap stages now? You're also a part of the UN. Congratulations on getting
The United Nations. I'm a big fan of the United Nations in general, and specifically of the United Nations in this festival.
in this festival. So how do you approach the building of material for these two quite different spaces?
You know, I have to be honest, I think as a comic you have material.
Yeah.
And then you go into a room and some of it you adjust according to the room. I don't have women-specific material or, you know, mixed gender-specific material. I just have material. But I think material gets its own life also depending on the audience. And sometimes when you do some material for all women, it gets a different response. Not a better or worse, just different than it does if it's mixed. So I'm not really going to change my material per se. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm so looking forward to it. I used to be part of a book club. And it was the most boring thing I've done in my life.
You see, I'm not... but that's the perception that...
No, but this is going to change it. No, this is going to change it. This is the book club you want to be part of.
Yes,
this is the one. Not just any old book club.
I did book club with Game of Thrones. Me and my brother would ring each other. We would read a chapter and then ring each other.
It's a TV show.
It was a great way to kind of reconnect with my brother. We're grown-ups now. We don't hang out so much, and so we'd ring each other and go, "God, did you see that? Took us right in the head."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I actually hosted an all-woman comedy show.
I mean, it wasn't an all-women comedy show.
Clearly not.
I was the host. And there was only one woman on the show who resented that. All the rest were fine with it and actually thought it was funny because I'm like totally a fish out of water and I'm joking about that. But there was one woman who really resented, and I was like, you know, what secret were you going to tell that I'm going to take to the other side? I didn't know that it was that.
I know, woman. I'm the danger zone.
Listen,
that's how we all say it. The danger zone.
We love,
you have to say it like that.
We love that title for our show, The Danger Zone, because people walk in thinking, "Oh my God, what are they going to do?" But it just means we're going to say whatever we want to say. You know, there is and it's really funny now. There's a PC. They talk about a PC movement in comedy, which I totally missed because if it's funny, you can say it. And you know, a long time ago, somebody told me, they said, listen, if you don't anger 20% of the crowd, you're not trying. You know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be, every joke somebody's going to be part of it or get their feelings hurt or whatever. So yeah, in the danger zone, we're not too worried about that. We're having a lot of fun. It's a good show, and I'm the host, and I talk to the crowd some. I try to get them. Whenever I host, I try to invite people. So I try to talk to the crowd, not just do material, right? I don't want to just walk out and start blah, 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 blah. It's like, how you doing? Welcome. I'll give them some observations that I've made just coming here to, you know, Cape Town and South Africa. There are some things that I've seen that have been funny to me or surprising to me, and I talk about that, and then we go into the show, and I open up telling them that, you know, if you're upset, if you're going to be offended, well, I make fun of people who have been offended. I've received emails and things like that from people who are offended by jokes, and I absolutely love that.
You know, that's
you
why
thrive on that.
The day.
That means they're listening.
Yeah.
You know? But the best thing you can do, and I've had this experience, I don't know if you guys have heard, the United States has a President Trump. I know it's new and nobody's talked about it. No, my favorite thing is making fun of Trump and then having Trump supporter come up and say, I like him, but that was funny. Because see, it's funny is funny. So even though we don't agree politically and that they're horribly wrong, it's still funny to them. So,
I mean, I wish we could keep you here for the next hour, but the bottom line is, if you want to see them, you got to see them.
I thought we were here for the next 3 hours. Listen, work it out. I got things to do. Now, initially, I said 2 hours, and he said 3. Now he wishes we could stay for the next 1. I'll leave right now.
No, you can't the show, okay.
I don't know if you're being funny or not now, if you've run out of funny yet. CapeTownComedyFestival.com is where you can get all of the lineups from the UN Danger Zone Book Club. There's going to be an incredible lineup of comedians, local and abroad. Webtickets.co.za is where you can get your hands on a ticket.
The time now is just 2 minutes after 7. It's time to delve into this news headlines. Now, high-ranking officials in the Department of Correctional Services and secretaries of parole boards have been summoned to an urgent meeting with Justice Minister Ronald Lamola to address the flaws of the parole system. The department yesterday indicated in a statement that Lamola was taking action after high-profile child kidnap and murder cases which were reported in the Western Cape in the past month. He echoed the concerns of South Africans around the efficacy of the parole system, it said. In other news, President Cyril Ramaphosa has said that it should come as no surprise that South Africa had once again entered a technical recession. Stats SA yesterday reported that the economy shrank by 1.4% in the last quarter of 2019, making for 2 successive quarters of negative growth. Meanwhile, it's not all doom and gloom for South Africans, with the announcement that petrol prices are set to drop from today. All grades of petrol will decrease by 19 cents a litre, while diesel will go down by 54 cents a litre. And now on to international news. Russian President Vladimir Putin wants marriage to be defined as the union of a man and women in a revised constitution ruling out gay marriage. Now, this is among several constitutional amendments proposed by Putin, which are set to be put to a public vote. The package includes a proclamation of Russians' faith in God and a ban on giving away any Russian territory. Critics see the proposals as a move by Putin to cling power after his presidential term ends in 2024. And now into other news. Dozens of women took to the streets of Malawi's capital on Monday to protest against sexual violence after a series of alleged police assaults on women last year. Now, the protesters, most of them women, marched through Lilongwe in silence to mark She Decides Day, a global movement launched in 2017 after organizations that talk about abortion were barred from receiving U.S. government funding. 21 million girls aged between 15 and 19 fall pregnant annually in developing regions, with 16 million giving birth. And now news of a teenager who uses his disability as an ability to educate others. An 8th grade learner from Tennessee, USA, 14-year-old Alex Johnson, has been using a wheelchair since he was in 2nd grade due to a form of skeletal dysplasia. Now, he thought it is a good idea to let his classmates understand what it's like to be disabled. He issued a simple challenge to them: spend a day in a wheelchair. And since the youngster has persuaded dozens of students to participate in his Spend a Day in My Wheels Challenge. Moreover, he recently got 10 state lawmakers to participate as well. They agreed it was a massive eye-opener to what Alex had to face each and every day. Now, they were unanimous that Alex was an amazing young man who has found a way to use his disability as an ability to educate others. And now taking a glimpse into the world of entertainment, the super mega, also known as Mzansi rapper, aka, proved that the bigger they are, the harder they fall, when he accidentally took a stumble off stage while attempting to crowd surf during a Rustenburg gig over the weekend. The hip-hop star, who is known for his large ego, has decided to take the spill on the chin, and we'll have a bit more later on that in our full entertainment report. That was your 7 o'clock roundup of your news. Let's take a look at the sports with G.
Unfortunately, no cricket from yesterday to report on, as the final group stage match between the Proteas women and the West Indies in the ICC Women's T20 World Cup was abandoned early yesterday without a ball being bowled in Sydney. South Africa has, however, still topped a Group B, and they will face hosts Australia in the semi-finals tomorrow morning. Then staying with our national teams, the Proteas men will be in action against Australia as well. That's in their second ODI of the 3-match series, kicking off at 1 p.m. this afternoon. Then the International Cricket Council has announced that South Africa will be the hosts of the Women's T20 World Cup in 2022. Proteas women automatically qualify as hosts, while the 7 highest-ranked countries in the T20 team rankings, they also receive automatic qualification. Details of the venues and dates have not yet been announced. Then on to the Olympic watch for 2020. The 2020 Tokyo Olympics, set to take place from the 24th of July to the 9th of August, could be postponed until later this year. That's because of fears over the coronavirus outbreak. The deadly virus has now spread to more than 70 countries and has affected numerous sporting codes, including football and rugby, and various motorsport races have also been cancelled. Japan's Olympic Minister Seiko Hashimoto will remain in talks with the International Olympic Committee about the global showpiece. And on to the footballing front, Liverpool suffered their second consecutive loss, this time at the hands of Chelsea in the FA Cup 5th round match. The Blues securing a 2-0 win over the Reds at Stamford Bridge last night to advance to the competition quarter-finals. The hosts opening the scoring in the 13th minute with a goal from Willian and Ross Barkley, then slotting another in the second half to hand Chelsea the win. There'll be 3 FA Cup fixtures this evening with Man City, Tottenham Hotspur and Leicester City. Big guns all in action from 9:45 this evening. That's where we leave our sport for now. Let's take a look at the roads.
The time is now 8 minutes past 7. It's time to have the first look at what's happening on the roads this morning. Starting off in Midrand, Gauteng, on New Road, there is bumper-to-bumper traffic between Clarinet Street on the N and the N1. Delays are expected, so please be patient on the roads this morning. And down to the Western Cape, Khayelitsha, there is protest action on Baden Powell Drive before Makasa Road. Heavy delays are expected. Please use alternative routes this morning. And lastly, Metro Rail Southern Line. More than 10 trains have been cancelled on the Southern Line due to sets out of service. Commuters are advised to use an alternative mode of transport this morning to avoid any delays. That's your 7 o'clock traffic roundup. Right now it's time for the weather with Jamie.
It's a beautiful Wednesday morning. Happy hump day to everybody, and you're still keeping it locked here on your Feel Good Breakfast show. Now, we've asked you to send in your sunrise pictures, and so far, so many have come through, one of them being JP Malherba, who sent us this beautiful skyline from Robertson, where partly sunny conditions are expected with very hot temperatures reaching a maximum of 41 degrees. So you might want to take the sunblock out today. Father Khan also sent us this bold sunrise from Richards Bay, where plenty of sunshine can also be expected with clear skies and a northeasterly wind reaching a maximum of 31 degrees. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day wherever you find yourself, but let's take a look at the temperatures for the rest of the country. Now, the coolest start to the morning can be found in Polokwane with a low of 12, peaking at 25 degrees. Umbombela 14.26, Pretoria 13.27, and then if you find yourself in Johannesburg, high humidity can be expected with a low of 12, peaking at 26 degrees. Mahikeng 15 15.28. Klerksdorp 14.29. If you find yourself in Kimberley, your low is 16, peaking at 32. Bloemfontein 13.28. If you find yourself in Richards Bay today, it looks like it's going to be nice temperatures with a low of 20 and a high of 31. High humidity expected for Pietermaritzburg today with a low of 16 and a maximum of 30. A northeasterly wind of 22 kilometers per hour for you, Durban, with a low of 21 and a high of 29. Mthatha 15.34, and then plenty of sunshine coming through today for you, East London, ranging from 22, peaking at 33. The highest temperature, surprisingly today, can be found in Craddock with a low of 14, peaking at 37 degrees, and then a northeasterly wind of 17 kilometers per hour for you, PE Port Elizabeth, with a low of 19 and a high of 34. George 16.33, Sutherland 13.32, and then a northwesterly wind of 15 kilometers per hour can be expected for the mother city, Cape Town, today, with an all low of 18 and a high of 25. Worcester 16.36, Springbok 18.34, and then lastly, taking a break from the highest temperature, is Uppington with an all low of 22, peaking at 35. But of course, whatever the weather, wherever you find yourself today, make sure it is a beautiful day indeed.
So who wouldn't want to watch the upcoming Nedbank Cup quarterfinals in VIP style? If football is your game and luxury is your style, then make these VIP tickets yours. They could be yours. To get there, you're going to need to follow these 3 very easy steps. So listen very carefully. So if you're a Nedbank card holder or even a non-Nedbanker, in fact, you can open the free mobile money, my Mobi Money rather, account, and it's really simple. You dial *120 *002 hash, then follow the prompts. Very quick, very simple. Then once the account is open, use it to make a transaction like buying airtime. Maybe you want to send money to a friend. And then once you've done that, SMS the keyword Nedbank to 33728. And lastly, once that's done, cross your lucky little fingers and hopefully you'll be getting a call for us with those VIP tickets. And there are 4 quarterfinal matches, obviously 4 sets of VIP tickets to each to be given away. The winners will be picked on a first-come, first-served basis, so get on it now. Competition ends at 12 p.m. on Monday, the 9th of March, so be quick. And remember that SMSs will cost you $1.50. All the terms and conditions, though, can be found on expressoshow.com.
We've said it before and we'll say it again, but Samsung have won 2020. And come this Friday, the 6th of March, right here on Expresso, the Samsung team will join us to showcase the brand new, super sexy S20 Ultra smartphone. And with the most advanced camera zoom yet, you won't want to miss it. And get this, they're giving you the chance to win one. So don't say we didn't warn you.
Introducing Galaxy S20 Ultra.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show right here on SABC3. This is Expresso. Happy Hump Day, everybody. It is the 4th of March. I can't believe we're already halfway through the first week of March. Well, when you hear that sound, you know it's about that time that we delve into the world of technology. So much is happening, so many innovations, considering also like the outbreak of the coronavirus. Now, technology conglomerates or big tech companies, as they are called, have begun to issue a series of travel warnings to their employees amidst the outbreak outbreak of the coronavirus. Among them, the call to work from home rather than in a company office space. Now, earlier this week, the likes of Twitter as well as Google have confirmed that they have asked employees to rather work from home than visit their office space in a bid to contain the potential spread of the coronavirus itself. Now, further, both companies have limited travel access to China as well, preventing key employees from entering or leaving the country for fears of contracting the virus. Now, Twitter has publicly commented that although the call to work from home is in response to the emergence of the coronavirus, the move forms part of a wider strategy in which it has invited its employees to work from home more regularly and to work more remotely where possible. The company's CEO, Jack Dorsey, has announced the plans to work in Africa for up to 6 months of the year. I think it's a fantastic idea.
Absolutely.
Apart from the fact that, okay, cool, it's important that you prioritize the health of your employees, but also just moving on forward in terms of the dynamics of a 9-to-5 office job.
Yeah.
The access to working from home is something that I'm vouching for 100%.
I think we were actually speaking about this on Friday with Demisa. We were saying,
yes,
imagine every Friday you got the opportunity to work from home. I think more so with the coronavirus and the outbreak, it is a safer option, but also just giving your employees that opportunity to have to work from home.
Yes.
So maybe we should do the show tomorrow from home. Yeah,
we're gonna all Skype in together. Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea.
No, guys. In other news as well, though most of us might not know the name, we've probably all seen the South African Energy Efficiency label before, which is a sticker most commonly found on appliances such as fridges or microwaves that shows estimated electricity consumption and how much any new gadget might affect your pocket. Now, in the United States, the Energy Star Alliance, the North American equivalent to our very own energy efficiency services, has set a new first by issuing its own ratings for smart home products, which is super cool. This now means that at least in the United States, for the time being, consumers will be able to select and buy products based on their energy efficiency, meaning that gadgets such as internet routers, smart switches, doorbells, or even security cameras will need to disclose how much power they use upfront from the box. The news will hopefully make buying into smart home technology that little bit more affordable for everyone, and hopefully a similar idea can take place here in South Africa, because I think it's so important that you know how much energy you use upfront.
Yes.
And now that technology companies or consumers are putting that on the labels, people can then, as the consumer,
it's important.
Yeah, you can almost just like decide whether you want to go in for it or not. Is it affordable for you? So it's a very, very smart thing.
It needs to be absolutely affordable because it also forms part of sustainable development. I love it when technological innovations fall part of that, because it's in light of, you know, global warming, climate change, etc. This is the direction that we need to take in terms of technology at large.
Absolutely. Of course, if you have any questions or any tech news you want to share with us and get onto our social media platforms, Expresso Morning Show SABC3.
Chores. Oh, does that strike fear into your heart? Or maybe you completely OCD and you love it? No one likes to do them, let's be honest, but they are an important part of growing up and learning to take on more responsibility. And family therapist and social worker Talia Resselnot joins us in studio to talk us through the importance of chores, what in fact they do offer us in our growth path as children. I still do chores. It's a part of I realize my family, we express ourselves emotionally through chores. I've been grew up in that kind of household. So there are definitely things attached to chores that are very positive, as much as we have a negative connotation. So let's start right there. But chores and parenting, it becomes something that we've got to actively think about now as parents. Why?
Well, I mean, I like that you use the word responsibilities, because if we can reframe chores to their responsibilities. So, you know, for your kid, it's not about not child labor, but that you have a responsibility to the family, you have a responsibility to each other. Life is about an exchange of I do for you, you do for me. So
quid pro quo.
So within the family, why chores are so important is because they give opportunities for your children to learn not just basic life skills and independence skills, but they also learn emotional skills such as delayed gratification. You can't do this until you've done that. They learn how to do boring things and put up with that and persevere. Like maybe they don't quite get it in the beginning and they have to go back and do it. So that's a good skill.
Sense of accomplishment.
A sense of accomplishment. You can give them praise and a sense of belonging. If you think about it, you know, that's how we feel connected to others. I do for you and I feel we're connected.
Well, I think, you know, you realise this more and more as you grow up, and especially once you've had kids, funny enough, that your sense of responsibility is often very closely tied to your sense of self-worth on a deep, very authentic level.
Yes, and chores and responsibilities give children an opportunity to increase their self-worth, because if I now go and do something and I master that, I feel good inside, and it's like, actually I can do something. And that's why we see, especially with little ones who'll follow us and try to copy what we're doing and bring the broom, they want to feel good about themselves. So actually that responsibility helps with that development.
When do we start introducing chores? Obviously they're a little bit useless as toddlers, they're not really helpful, but you want to start the thought process behind the chores and having their little mini cooking things and mini cleaning things. But what is the right age?
Well, as early as possible, because you want to integrate it into their daily life, that it's a normal thing. So when they are little, 2, 3, they can help you. They certainly can learn to pick up their toys. I pick up one, you pick up one. You know, it's got to be age appropriate. But start young. If you haven't started already, it's not too late, you know, get that going. And obviously the tasks become adjusted depending on their age. It's not appropriate to expect a 4-year-old to cook a meal on their own, but that would be appropriate of a 14-year-old.
That being said, can the older child have a say in what chores they do? At what point does it become a dual kind of commitment or choice?
Well, I think wherever it allows. I like that idea that we sit down and we say, look, these are the chores that have got to be done.
What are you good at?
What are you good at? What do you... Okay, pick 2 that you want to do, and I'm sorry, these are the 2 that are also no one wants to do. So, you know, we divide it up equally.
You are strong enough to do this. You're the only one strong enough to take out the rubbish. You take out the rubbish.
Don't expect your kids to be thrilled about the idea, though.
Yeah.
That's, you know, what I tell parents with responsibilities and chores. They're not going to volunteer necessarily like, yes, let me take out the rubbish. But at the same time, we've got to encourage them. Often now I find parents are too busy. Their lives are so busy that they actually don't want to put up with the nagging. So it's just easier for them and quicker to do it themselves. Or they're feeling like, oh, shame, I don't want to now add more stress to them and go the other way and don't expect them to do any chores.
You're actually doing them a disservice. Okay, fantastic. Stick around. We're going to talk more about chores, doing chores and what it can add to your child's life.
Find yourself daydreaming of fairy tale lands, paradise beaches, and glamorous cities? With a sprinkle of magic, Travel Start is making your travel dreams come true. Their Dream Week sale is finally here. Get ready to mark your calendar from the 2nd to the 6th of March 2020 and sign up for great savings to mega cities. Chase those pinch me moments with travelstart.co.za.
Welcome back, all you beautiful people, right here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It's a Wednesday. Happy Hump Day to everybody. Thank you so much for keeping it locked here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Now, this morning, we posed a question to you. As you know, we're talking all about chores. And we said, good morning. Today, we're emphasizing the importance of household chores. What chores were you roped into doing when you were a child? And, of course, a lot of people were coming through with what they were doing because, you know, we started off young. And one of them was Tiny Wom saying, good morning, Expresso Familia. Mine was to wash dishes and clean the kitchen, sometimes make fire in the stove, which, ooh, that is old school.
Yeah.
In the stove, which always did not burn properly because I always put more coal than wood. Wink face. I think maybe you did that on purpose so that you didn't have to do that chore again.
We see you. We see your tactic.
We see you, Tiny. And then Natasha Sheikh says, good morning, Expresso. I had plenty of chores, from scrubbing floors with steel wool to polishing floors to shining, girl, washing dishes, window and curtain cleaning, and of course the cabinet which needed cleaning on special occasions. I feel like this was a Saturday morning ritual. Then you played TLC. Yes, you better call Jaro.
Or Tamia,
while they play.
I am there with you with your dookie on. You're on your knees, you're phrasing. Absolutely get you.
Natasha, we feel you. We sympathize with you, my sister.
This one comes from Gavin. Gavin says, good morning, Expresso team. Dishes and yard work. Being married now, I still do those two chores.
Yes,
I don't like it. Maybe it's time you have children so that you can make them do the chores. That's what my mom always used to say. What's the point of having kids if I can't send them around? I'm like, man, I am here so that you can nurture me, okay? And this one lastly comes from Utuli Kunene. She says, good morning. Washing dishes and making tea. Hey, drink tea in my house 5 to... a number of times, or more during the day. I used to cry a lot. I don't drink it myself.
Can we also just speak this out, like to our ancestors, and stop saying that the youngest child needs to make tea for the whole family? Sundays kills me in our household because they'll be like, "We will tea," then I must be like, "The youngster, Jamie's the youngster," so then I have to go make tea for 20 people, and then they're like, "Oh, I want sugar, I want..." So can we just cut that out?
Sugar, milk, no milk. If it's milk, cold.
It's okay. But of course, we're talking about the importance of this for your child and the emotional connection to it, so we continue this conversation.
Yes, indeed. I know it's nice to steer your child towards useful chores that actually benefit you, but we are talking about it in the context of chores that benefit them, benefit the household, help them develop a sense of responsibility. And earlier in the show, we spoke about those emotional benefits for children when doing chores as well. We're continuing the conversation with our family therapist and social worker and friend, Talia Ressel, to find out more about how parents can make chores a positive learning experience and sometimes quite fun. If I think back, like, you know, doing the pool thing was like picking up leaves off the pool surface, and it actually became like a computer game, rudimental computer, but it was just, there were things tied to it that I do have very positive memories of. Not always, but I think from a parent's perspective, we don't want to just be, like you say, child labour, putting our child to work. We want them to have a healthy experience. How can we introduce chores in a healthy way? I know you were saying you can start really young, but when we really want it to get fundamental, we want the child to do something that's useful, an actual chore that we benefit from in the household. How do we turn that into a healthy, or do we do that in a healthy way?
Well, I mean, I think start young, but start alongside them. Be with the child. And it might take longer than it would take for you to just do it on your own, but that's fostering your relationship with the child. It's using it as an opportunity to bond. I think making it fun. Just because it's got to get done doesn't mean that it has to be an absolute pain, you know. Jamie was talking about making the tea. Well, pretend to be the waitress and come write down the notes, you know, and get that sense. There's ways in which it can be incorporated. I think for parents to also know, there also needs to be a consequence, obviously, that we can chat about if you don't do the chores. So it's not about, you know, only if the child wants to. It's also healthy for their work ethic to know, look, you've got to do it, and sometimes there's things that we don't want to do in life, but we've got to suck it up and do it. And this is that learning period for the child.
Sounds like we've got to let go of a lot of our baggage, our negative connotations to do with chores, because when going through that process with your child, you need to get excited about doing it with them, and it could actually turn it into a very positive thing, a bonding experience, something fun. I love the way Jack loves to copy and do things and wants to get involved, and it can be some of the most fun activities is getting down to chores. It sounds ridiculous. Can you give us maybe some correlation, some chores for the respective age groups? What some age-appropriate chores.
Okay. So sort of the toddler to preschool age, I would encourage you, let them help you. Like they want to bring their little broom and or they want to help lay the table so you can pass them the things. They can help with packing their toys away, little things, taking care of their room, taking care of themselves. So get them to brush their hair as well. Those are chores. Then when we've got school age kids, now you can start to pull back a little bit. So now they can take responsibility for laying the table. You don't actually have to assist with that.
Give them more responsibility.
Exactly. Look, you're trying to get your child from a nothing blob of a baby to an independent living adult. Okay, it's not going to happen without phasing in and pulling yourself out more and letting them learn independent living skills. So when you're teaching them a chore, you're teaching them a life lesson.
Okay, I love that. Maybe you can just elaborate a little bit more, because I'm thinking that's great in a household where your child listens to you. Yeah. When you talk about consequence, how do you deal with that, that phase of the negotiation breaking down?
So, like I said, children will most likely moan, okay? They're going to not want to do these tasks a lot of the time, but parents do need to explain with the consequence that you explained beforehand. Look, this is what needs to be done. I do stuff for you in the house. So if you're not assisting me, that gives me less time to assist you. You know, it's cause and effect. Parents can decide, you know, maybe we're not going to allow screen time, or you're not going to, you know, to go out with your friends. That there's a consequence to not pulling your weight, because that's how the real world works.
I love it. It's all an exchange, but an opportunity, as I said, for us as parents to maybe let go of some of our baggage, our negative connotations to those chores, but an opportunity to build a stronger relationship with your child is at the heart of just about every parenting discussion that we have, and that's an opportunity you need to embrace.
The 14th Annual South African Film and Television Awards are at hand, and we as the Expresso family are particularly proud and excited that Graham Richards, our very own G-Man, has been nominated among the very best television presenters in all the land, and you as the public have the power to decide.
And voting is very simple. All you need to do is dial *120 *45884# and choose the category Best TV Presenter and #3 Graham Richards.
We're all voting for Graham, and so should you.
Catch him weekdays on your Feel Good Breakfast show from 6 to 9 a.m. only on SABC3, where the stage
is yours.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
You are still keeping it locked here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show, only on SABC3. Now it's time for another edition of our Wednesday feature where we focus on the unconventional side of the law. It's called So Now What? And we're once again joined by our expert lawyer and director at legalease.co.za, Eitan Stern. Now today's question we're posing to you is, I'm renting property but I am not happy. So now what? We'll be focusing on what your legal rights and recourses are when it comes to renting a property or being a landlord or lady. So welcome back to us.
Good to be here. Interesting topic.
I was about to say it's absolutely interesting because people are moving in and out of places, the beginning of the year, and moving already is such a schlep.
I've just moved into a new place and my landlord is a hard ass. I don't know if I can say that on TV.
Oh, hectic. And then it's also an interesting topic for you as well to discuss.
Speak from
the heart.
Yeah.
What's the importance between for the landlord and the tenant to fully know, their rights?
Okay, cool. So it's really important. So rental in South Africa is governed by two laws predominantly, the Rental Housing Act and the Consumer Protection Act. And it's really important that both sides understand what's going on, because whether you know or whether you don't know, it doesn't matter. The law will still affect you. So, for example, one of the laws says that if the deposit that's paid by the tenant has to be kept by the landlord in an interest-bearing account. So when the tenant moves out, they get paid their deposit back plus the interest. Now, if the landlord doesn't know that, it doesn't matter. There has to be sit in an interest-bearing account, and they have to pay it back interest. So if they didn't put it in the interest-bearing account, they still have to pay the interest back, and they might just have to dip out of their own pocket for it. Another example would be that the tenant and the landlord must do an inspection before the tenant moves in to see what's broken. If they don't do that, there still can be an inspection when the tenant moves out, and the tenant can be forced to pay for things that weren't necessarily his or her damage. So it's really important to know what's going on, because if you don't understand the laws, it doesn't mean the laws won't affect you.
No, absolutely. Now, let's speak about if you're unhappy in a case. You're unhappy, you want to cancel your lease before the year is finished. What then happens? Will there be a penalty fee? Will there be a cancellation fee? Take us through that.
Okay, cool. So it differs a little bit whether you're the landlord or the tenant. And as an overall, look, you can always cancel. There might just be repercussions to it. You're not allowed to force someone to live somewhere they don't want to. So a landlord is allowed to cancel if there is what we call a material breach, so like a really serious breach of the contract. So the tenant doesn't pay. The landlord then has to give 20 business days, which is about a month notice. And if the tenant doesn't do what they're supposed to do or fix the breach, then the landlord can cancel. The tenant can cancel at any time, but the landlord is allowed to charge a reasonable penalty. So if the landlord can't fill the property or incurs damages because they have to now pay an estate agent to fill the property, then those damages can be passed on to the tenant. So tenant can cancel at any time, but there's going to be a penalty.
Can I quickly ask something?
Yes.
For instance, you give a 20-day period, but on the 21st day, you're still there. Would that also be a penalty or damages to that?
Can they remove you forcefully?
Okay, so no one can remove anyone forcefully without a court order. So the way that it works, if you want to remove someone from a property, you can't just force a tenant out. You can't just go and change the locks. That's illegal. Tenants have a lot of rights in South African law. So what they have to do is you have to go to a court and you have to go through an eviction process, and the court has to order that tenant out. And at the end of the eviction process, if the tenant still won't leave, then they can get the sheriff to come around and essentially force the person out. But us as regular citizens are not allowed to force people out of properties. So renting is all about a balance of rights. It's balancing a landlord's right to get use of this property, which is an expensive asset, and it's balancing a tenant's right to use and enjoy something which they're paying money for. So it's always going to be a balance.
Interesting. Well, listen, we're going to continue this conversation a little bit later on. When we come back, we talk about the unconventional side of the law on our Wednesday feature. So now what? Head on over to our social media if you have any questions for Eitan Stern, our friend at legalease.co.za.
Thank you so much, guys. Let's shift the conversation slightly now from renting to owning. Whether you are newlywed, ready to extend your portfolio, maybe extend your family, simply taking that leap, nothing beats the feeling of buying a new home. Even thinking about it gets me really excited. So whilst it's one of the biggest milestones, I think, in our lives, it's also a massive financial undertaking that requires a lot of thought, planning, and honesty. And here to guide us through this exciting home loan process is Xoli Ndwandwe, Nedbank's Head of Affordable Housing Home Loans. Xoli, welcome.
Good morning.
This is, I get nervous and excited at the same time when we're talking about buying a house. It is probably one of, if not the biggest financial decision most of us will make in our lives.
It certainly is, and it's something that should not be taken lightly. You are making a big commitment, and it should be treated as such.
Area, location, that's obviously going to be like the big consideration, and how much we can afford. How do you start that internal dialogue of working out your budget?
So you're quite right, location, nothing has changed there. But we normally say to potential buyers, you need to do the internal work first. Start with your own budget, figure out how much it is that you can realistically afford to put out there towards monthly repayments. And we typically say you must be able to draw a scenario. This is my income, these are my debt commitments, and these are my casual living expenditure. I'm left with 3,000 rands, for example. If you're left with 3,000 rands, you should typically be able to buy a house where you will buy for 300,000. Now, the key thing, if you go to the Nedbank Instant Bond Indicator, it tells you exactly whether you are good to go, because there is still the credit that we need to consider. So you use the tool, it tells you if you're good for the 300,000 that you want to buy for.
Having a good credit score, essential. The better your credit score in so many areas of life, it really can help you in dealing with your financial partners. How do we check our credit score, and how do we go about fostering a good, healthy credit outlook?
So a very quick one, because a lot of people don't know what that is. So I typically say to people, as you go about your day-to-day transaction, borrowing money, paying that money, spending, you are leaving a footprint on the bureau. It contributes towards your credit score. When a bank now wants to lend you money, they want to get a sense of, are you someone who tends to repay their debts if they've been borrowed money? And the good indicator for that is a credit score. It's very important. Guard it with your life.
You need it.
New innovations now, they even look at your rental behavior. You guys were talking about rental earlier, where they look at the bureau, where they record rental payments and say, does this person honor their commitments? So go to the credit bureaus, big ones, Experian, TransUnion, XDS, get a sense of what your score look like, and do not mess it up.
Because it's with you for life. It's like a passport, like an ID document. What are some of the hidden costs? Because I think we all have heard horror stories around that house buying process, where people don't take into account something, and then suddenly there's additional costs that they didn't possibly budget for. What are some of the possible hidden costs that could emerge during the home buying process?
So, Graham, there definitely are costs, but good news for South Africans. I don't know if you'd listened to the minister's budget speech last week. He was actually like Father Christmas. So, for example, we announced that for people that want to buy for 1 million rands and below, they will not pay an estate duty. So typically there are 4 kinds of costs that are involved when you buy a property. One is the estate duty, so you pay that to the receiver of revenue. It's got nothing to do with the banks or the attorneys. It's just the tax that you pay.
And would that be over and above that? Is that worked into the finance of the home, or is that over and above is that a cost that will emerge after you've worked out the cost of your bond, or will it be factored into the money that you are essentially borrowing? Where is that money going to come from?
So you found a house. The house costs 1 million rands. So that's just the value of the house. The seller wants that, nothing less. But over and above that, SARS would then say, you are buying for 1 million rands, this is the tax we want. Now it's 0 for 1 million and below since the budget speech. It's over and above. The second set of costs are the costs that you pay to the attorneys. You get attorneys that transfer the property from my name, I'm the seller, to you. That's the transfer cost. The third one, it's the bond registration fees. Now, when Nedbank or any bank for that matter registers a bond in your name, they charge for that service as well. The final one, it's initiation fees. Now, for first-time home buyers, we normally say to them, it's recommended that you work out your budget and you save a little bit to cover some of these costs as well, especially because the more you borrow, the more interest you pay, and you certainly don't want to overcommit yourself and pay interest where you would have otherwise been able to save for. So a deposit really does help.
You're making the process easier for me as we're speaking right here, but maybe you can you can expand a little bit, because I'm thinking about buying a new home over the next couple of years. So these are all questions that I really need to answer myself. How are you guys at Nedbank? Because you're speaking obviously with great authority here as a homeowner yourself.
Absolutely.
But you work in a watershed space within Nedbank. How is your company? How is Nedbank making it more accessible, making it easier for us to go through the home loan process?
I'm glad you're thinking about it, and help is at hand. So one of the things that we do in the first-time home buyer space, one is to offer that hand-holding service, because you were saying earlier, it's potentially the biggest decision that most of us, financial decision one of us will ever make. So we offer a hand-holding service where we allocate a home loan sales consultant who works with you. They will go as far as filling in the application form with you sitting right there, because they need to guide you through the income, the living expenses, the rest of your contractual debts, and they need to help you, put you in contact with the relevant players in the market to get the right property. So we do that, but that's not it. We also have a recently launched initiative where we give cash back to any first-time home buyers who earn 25,400 and below. It's cash back paid into your Nedbank account upon registration of your property. We also try to make the cost we're talking about a little bit more bearable. We give a 50% discount to the attorney bond registration fee that I spoke about a little bit earlier. So obviously, Minister Tito Mbowene's zero tax for 1 million and below also does come into the equation. Those are all the things that have been put in place to assist your first-time home buyers gain access into the property market and make it a little bit more bearable.
I love it. You're like one of Tito's elves, helping spread that Christmas joy. Thank you so much. You've simplified a lot of things that I think many of us find a little bit daunting, but the bottom line is it can be one of the best times of your life as well. Nedbank are taking the hassle out of home loans, making your dream of becoming a homeowner just that much easier. And for more information, you can visit nedbank.co.za/home loans. And plus, Nedbank will also be at the Property Buyer Show taking place on the 21st and 22nd of March. It's a big one. It'll be happening at the Cape Town International Convention Centre. You can chat to experts firsthand and get some great advice. They can answer all of your questions. Thanks for answering all of my questions. I feel a lot more confident and more excited about buying home. You can ponder your dream location as we take a quick break. We'll chat to you now.
Money.
There's nothing smoother than winning when you buy Tropica. Buy any size of your favorite flavor of Tropica in fresh or long life. Find the unique code behind the label or sticker. Then follow the entry details on the pack and you could win daily prizes of airtime, cash, LG Q60 smartphones, 55-inch LG UHD smart artificial intelligence digital TVs, steam dishwashers, Caribbean tan hampers, or guest watches. That's more than 100,000 prizes.
Tropica, nothing smoother.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, everybody, to your Feel Good Breakfast Show right here on SABC3. Now, we are continuing our discussion with lawyer and our friend and director at legalease.co.za, Eitan Stern. And the question we asked today, so now what? If you are renting, what are the legal rights when it comes to the landlord and the landlady and the tenant? So it's a very interesting conversation. And just before the break, you said you are renting as well, but it's from your mom, so she's your landlord, okay? But you said she's a hard ass. But I think that's the ground that you have to put it. Sometimes you have to have an open communication before you even move in with a person, right? Or move into that space.
With your landlord?
With your landlord and tenant, there should always be an open communication.
100%. I mean, with anything in law, like the more communication that you have, the better. So if you're renting from an estate agency or a landlord, I mean, you really want to kind of make sure that you're both on the same page. You know, that you hear horror stories about people moving in and there's, you know, damage to the property which they didn't know about, or there's hidden fees which they didn't know about. So yeah, the more I suppose with everything in the law, the more communication, the better. Yeah.
There's one question that's very interesting here that I want to touch on because a friend of mine actually experienced this most recently. Can the tenant's right to remain in the property be cancelled if the landlord decides to sell the property?
Oh, wow.
Okay, it's a great question. So the law deals with this very specifically, and there's a kind of legal clause or a legal tenant called that says rental goes before sale. And what that means is that when a property is sold, if there's a tenant in it, the property is sold with the tenants. The new buyer can't just cancel the property and say, listen, the property is sold. So if you buy a property with a tenant, you're buying the tenant as well up until that lease ends. The only exception to that rule is where the bank, if there's the property is bonded, so the money is owed to the bank on that property. If that property is then auctioned and the bank doesn't get enough in order to cover that bond, then the bank can re-auction that property without the tenant, in which case the tenant can go. But that's in kind of an extreme circumstance. But in most cases, if you're buying a property and there's a tenant, you're buying with the tenant.
There's also something called rent to buy, right? So you're renting and then with the option of buying. Should the landlord then give the tenant first, like, preference to it?
I don't know too much about rent to buy. There's this whole thing of property, what we were discussing before, property is really, really expensive. So there are a whole lot of different and new mechanisms for people to be able to buy property. Fractional ownership, rent to buys. There's, buying properties in different schemes. There's a lot of options out there. Some of them are really interesting, and we could really see the landscape of buying property change in the next couple of years. Some of them are quite dangerous, and you should really beware about. So, if you're going to go into some sort of property buying scheme like a rent to buy or fractional ownership, it's crucial to do your research, to really, really understand, take legal advice and really understand what you're getting involved in, because it can get quite complex, and it's an area which is busy in the process of being disrupted.
And you obviously don't want to have like a bad connection. Like we were just also speaking about this, like you had this experience where you were staying at a place and then the landlord changed the rent mid-lease. Is that a thing? Can that?
So certainly not. And this does happen, but it's something that tenants should really know about. Once you've got a lease agreement, your lease agreement covers what you can do in that property. If the lease agreement says you can't smoke in it, you can't smoke. The lease agreement says you can't have pets, you can't have pets. If the lease agreement says what the rental is, that is the rental until that lease agreement ends. So a landlord cannot change the rental amount mid-lease. That's not allowed. If it gets to the end of the lease period, they could potentially change what the rent is, and they could even put it up a fair bit, unless there was some sort of a clause in the contract which said if you're going to renew it, then you're only going to pay, say, a 10% escalation. So if there's nothing like that, then the landlord, once the lease ends, the landlord can do what they want as long as it's legal. But during the lease period, if there's a rental amount that's set, it cannot be changed, and tenants can push back on that. Yeah.
This is very insightful. Thank you so much for joining us. I wish we actually had more time to discuss this, because it's something that affects a lot of people, especially young people, because we're not too aware of the rules and regulations that come with being a tenant.
There's lots of resources online. I mean, a simple Google on this is an area that's written about a fair deal. So, put your question into Google and you'll find different legal practices would have put notes and articles about this sort of stuff. There's a lot of information online about rental housing in South Africa. There's rules, but it's not very, very complex. So if you've got a question, you know, check it out, do some research, and if you're still not sure, then call a lawyer, and yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Hopefully you at home are equipped and gained knowledge from this conversation with regards to the rights that a tenant and a landlord or lady has, and hopefully you'll use this to make better decisions for the future.
So welcome back to the kitchen. Welcome to the Culinary Hotline. Bling!
Sing, sing,
sing. We love this stage of the show because you guys, of course, engage with us, give us some amazing kitchen conundrums, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with Chef Chat this morning. We are talking about kitchen staples, and we've got some great comments and questions coming through from you guys, so thank you so much for that. I'm going to start right off the bat with this comment coming from Fazeka Shazi. She says, what are the 5 basic staples for dinner to create flexibility in the kitchen?
Well, there's always a few components, little things that lurk in the fridge or in the cupboard. One, tin tomatoes, or 100%. A tin version of something. But I mean, tomatoes are always a great base, so I think that's always one there. Spinach comes to mind as well. That's in the bottom of the drawer. You know, that packet that usually gets sort of, you know, found at the very back. Yes,
like, oh my,
guilty.
it's still there. Yeah.
And then eggs. I think everybody has eggs, and we can have them for breakfast. You can have them for lunch. You can have them for dinner. But I mean, really versatile ingredient at that. And lots you can play around with. And then chicken, I think, is probably one of our sort of real big staples in this part of the world. We consume so much of it, and it's something we have in the freezer, or we've bought a fresh packet, you know, the day before from the supermarket.
And it's one of the less expensive proteins as well.
Absolutely, super affordable. And then pasta, another sort of dry ingredient that's in the cupboard, that's there in different shapes and different forms. So I think those are your 5 really basic kind of things that we have always, that you can create a meal out of, you know, for a few people or for many.
And also breakfast, lunch, and supper as well, which is great.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's a challenge, my good sir. I want you to create a delicious meal out of these staples. Can you throw them together?
Well, I just thought something really simple and something that's gorgeous is a quick shushka, because I mean it's just something that you can have at any point of the day, really. But typical sort of from the Mediterranean. I actually put this into my cookbook, Summer Food, which has got everything in it. I mean, so I've got really extravagant. It's got sausages and bacon and everything as well. But we're going to keep it really, really simple. So I've started to just spread off a little bit of onions in a little bit of oil. Okay. So bringing those down to there.
Brown them nicely.
Brown them very nicely.
This has made all of our poor guests, every time they have to walk through the kitchen, they're like, I'm getting so hungry now. I'm getting
Give me
so
some food.
Now,
yeah. A little bit of garlic, a pinch of salt and pepper as well. And then I want to get a lovely depth of colour is paprika. All right. So again, you've got these things in your drawer. You know, the spice drawer that's lurking there.
I challenge you to find someone who doesn't have a thing of paprika sitting in their spice cabinet.
And then obviously your knock-knock spice. Remember what that is? I'm sure I've told you this over the years. Knock-knock spice. Come in. Cumin.
Cumin.
Yeah. You remember that one, huh? So anyway, so you can just chuck that in as well. There we go. Wednesday morning's not your best morning, huh?
Oh, that's so funny.
Anyway, so cumin, coriander you could use. So again, be versatile. Whatever you've got in your cupboard, you don't have to rush out and go and get it.
But you've already added bucket loads of flavour.
I mean, look at that. I mean, the colour. I always say colour is flavour.
Gives you a good indication.
Absolutely. And then from there, taking your tin tomatoes. I mean, imagine you've got some beans, some red kidney beans, whatever you've got, you can really add to this. So you can really jazz this up beautifully and mix all that together.
And again, tin tomato is pretty inexpensive as well.
Inexpensive,
at the base of so many things. I mean, even just a pasta with tin tomatoes and a little bit of garlic and, you know, some flavouring, boom.
That's
on your way.
Done, absolutely.
Okay.
Right, that's up to the boil there, so let's just sort of fast track a couple of minutes there. Let's get a little bit of spinach into here as well. So it's just sort of just to wilt that down ever so slightly.
You don't want to cook out too much of the nutrients of especially a baby spinach.
No, not at all. And we're going to bake this off just now as well. So once the spinach is in there, what I want you to do is just make a couple of pockets in here. Because what we then do is
egg pockets. Okay,
egg pockets, there we go, yeah. And you're literally going to take your egg and just crack it directly into there. So what's going to happen is the egg's actually going to poach in this tomato spicy sauce. Let's just make a little bit more here.
Wonderful. The keyword here is dish. You SMS dish to 33728 and you can... it's a shakshuka.
Shakshuka, absolutely. Now, we're going to take this here, pop it into the oven and literally bake it for 8 to 12 minutes, 180 degrees, and then let it come out. I mean, and that's a dish in itself. it's done.
Absolutely beautiful. It's pungent, it's delicious, it's nutritious as well. And it's been made using just a few of the kitchen staples that you can have in your kitchen.
And fresh herbs if you got from the garden, sprinkle over, and that's what it looks like when it's all baked up beautifully. I mean, a little, fresh baguette, just even some bread, just some toast, just really simple staple things.
You definitely want something to be able to kind of make
Mop
the
it all
most
up.
out of
Absolutely.
that beautiful, beautiful
Anyway,
sauce.
I hope I made your challenge all right.
You crushed that challenge. And again, the keyword is dish to 33728. You can be creating something truly amazing with, I guarantee you, something you probably have sitting in your kitchen right now. We're going to continue to talk kitchen staples in our culinary hotline. Bling!
Sing, sing, sing.
The time now is just 1 minute past 8. It's time for a final roundup of your news headlines. In the national news, Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula says drivers who overload vehicles and put people's lives at risk will be severely punished. He addressed the media at the scene of Monday's bus crash in the Eastern Cape that claimed 25 lives. Now, the bus is alleged to have been carrying more than 90 passengers, while its capacity was only 75. Mbalula says public transport operators who are found to be negligent will face the full might of the law. In other news, high-ranking officials in the Department of Correctional Services and secretaries of parole boards have been summoned to a very urgent meeting with Justice Minister Ronald Lamola to address the flaws of the parole system. Now, the department yesterday indicated in a statement that Lamola was taking high action after a high-profile child kidnap and murder cases were reported in the Western Cape in the past month. He echoed the concerns of South Africans around the efficacy of the parole system, it said. Now onto the international front. Malawi has become the latest country in Southern Africa to relax laws against growing and selling cannabis, making it legal for use in the production of medicines and hemp fibers used in industry. A growing number of countries around the world are either legalizing or relaxing laws on cannabis as attitudes towards the drug have changed. Now, South Africa, meanwhile, has decriminalized domestic personal use and is in the process of lifting a ban on commercial cultivation of the plant. In other news as well, Russian President Vladimir Putin wants marriage to be defined as the union of a man and woman in a revised constitution ruling out gay marriage. Now, this is among several constitutional amendments proposed by Putin, which are set to be put to a public vote. The package includes a proclamation of Russians' faith in God and a ban on giving away any Russian territory. Critics see the proposals as a move by Putin to cling to power after his presidential term ends in 2024. And now news of a free concert tomorrow on Green Market Square. The city of Cape Town will be hosting a free concert on Green Market Square tomorrow to revitalize the area after refugees who had been living there for several months were removed. Now, the free concert will feature Jonathan Rubain, Don Vino, Candace Thornton and the Kefness featuring Matthew Gold, plus a mass salsa class on the square. The refugees were moved on Sunday in terms of a court order in a bylaw enforcement swoop. Traders on the square had complained that their businesses suffered while the refugees were camping there. The area was vacated on Sunday and now it's back to business on the square, one of the oldest venues in the country and a significant tourism hub which also benefits local art and craft traders. Now turning our gaze to the world of entertainment. Now, some of life's more funny moments can have a twist of irony involved. Media and talk show mogul Oprah Winfrey has learned this the hard way when she accidentally took a tumble on stage while talking about balancing during Oprah's 2020 Vision Your Life in Focus tour. Well, we'll have a little bit more of this in our full entertainment report a little later on. Right now, let's take a final look at the weather with Culinary.
The time is now 5 minutes past 8. It's time to have the final look at the weather. But first, we have asked you throughout the course of the morning to send in your sunrise pictures. Thank you to Barbara Hall for your pink skyline from Constantia and Nancy Governor for your incredible sunrise from Umkomas, as well as JP Maladba for your skyline from Robertson. And lastly, Father Khan for your bold sunrise from Richards Bay. Absolutely love seeing those sunrise pictures. Now for the final look at the temperatures for the rest of the country. Starting off with the cooler start to the morning in Polokwane with a low of 12 reaching a high of 25. Bombela is a partly cloudy cloudy day in Mbombela at 14, peaking at 26. Pretoria 13, 27. High humidity for Johannesburg at 12, reaching a high of 26. Mahikeng, your peak is 28 with a low of 15 today. Klerksdorp, your temperatures range from 14, reaching a high of 29. Kimberley 16, 32. And Bloemfontein, it's partly cloudy day with temperatures from 13 as the low, reaching a high of 28. Richards Bay 20, 31. And high humidity for Pietermaritzburg at 16 with a high of 30. Northeasterly wind of 22 kilometers an hour in Durban with a minimum temperature of 21, reaching a maximum of 29. It's a sunny day in Tata with a max of 34 and a low of 15. Plenty of sunshine for East London at a peak of 33 degrees with a low of 22. And the highest temperature in the country goes to Claydock with a high of 37 and a low of 17. Now, northeasterly wind of 17 kilometers an hour in Port Elizabeth with a minimum temperature of 19, reaching a max of 34. George 1633, Sutherland 1332, northwesterly wind of 15 kilometers an hour in Cape Town with a minimum of 18, reaching a maximum of 25. Worcester 1636 and Springbok 1834 and Uppington 2235. No matter the weather in your part of the country, make sure to have yourselves a fantastic Wednesday morning.
So we are talking about our children at the moment and putting our children to work, basically. No, the importance of chores. And everyone's got a different kind of connection to it from when they were a child. Cindy, Mel, were you put to work as children? You strike me as someone who would have embraced...
On the farm?
You would have embraced the
Yeah.
responsibility of doing a chore. You
Is that what I look like?
Yeah, like I said, you're enthusiastic.
You look like hard work.
Or were you difficult to put to work as a child?
I was very difficult to put to work as a child. My mom constantly told me to clean the room, and she always found everything under the bed. Like, I was like, the room's clean, and she was like, why is it done so quickly? And just to shove everything. Because, you know, we didn't have carpet, so we couldn't sweep things under the carpet. I know, you know. I'm a single parent, so I'm mom and dad, so I've got to do a dad joke every once in a while. So everything just got swept under the... chucked under the bed, so I didn't. And I think my son inherited the same thing because my son's now 22 and his room is a mess. No one goes in there. I think even I struggle to go find him.
Nah, but it's nothing more dangerous than a teenage boy. Cindy, do you have kids?
I do. I've got 3 kids. And when I was little, I was called Spring. Because the moment I would try and sit down, my mother would tell me to do something, and I'd say, oh, and I'd get up again. I was called Spring. I was never, my backside never touched a chair. Because my mother was, you know, I grew up in India, and children were there to get good grades and do stuff. Yeah. That was not their stuff.
Be useful, yeah.
My mom would say, go and bring the tea, and then you'd come with the tea. She'd say, where's my water? You're like, I didn't hear about the water. And then you'd go back and forth. It went like this all the time. So I have 3 kids, and I didn't grow up with this thing like in the West you have where if you do a chore, you get 50 pence. No. I didn't have that. It was like, if you don't do what I'm saying, you will get this, then you see. So my kids would say, oh, you know, we want pocket money. And I'd say, for what? And so I said, I'll give you money if you get good grades. And my husband was like, that's wrong. And I was like, why? I don't understand. They want money. It should be something useful.
Let's talk about net results, yeah.
Yeah. And so then they wanted to do chores, and they would make these charts, you know, where they would say, oh, if I do this, will you give me this? And I would keep putting the price down. So finally, it was so worthless to them. They're like, we're not doing it. I'm like, well, then that's fine, because you're not getting the money either.
Then you don't eat. Then you don't eat.
Then you don't get the money. But I do think it's character building.
Yeah,
completely.
Do, you know, to not have your own free time to putz around. Because when you grow up and get a real job, you're like, oh, I'm used to this. Where I'd rather be doing something else, but I'm doing this.
Yeah. I'll embrace it. Like being comedian's a real job, guys. Come on.
Well, it's hard work. It's hard work. Look at you, ladies.
Some of the hardest working in the industry. And of course, they're here as part of the Cape Town International Comedy Festival, loving hosting some amazing comedians. And we're going to continue chatting to them in just a moment.
Only the highest grade Arabica beans. McCafe. Great coffee, simple. See you after the break.
Find yourself daydreaming of fairy tale lands, paradise beaches, and glamorous cities? With a sprinkle of magic, Travel Start is making your travel dreams come true. Their Dream Week sale is finally here. Get ready to mark your calendar from the 2nd to the 6th of March 2020 and sign up for great savings to mega cities. Chase those pinch me moments with travelstart.co.za.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso right here on SABC3. Now, when you hear that sound, you know it's time for us to sip some tea, honey, and look at what's happening in the world of entertainment.
Guys, can we just start off with this girl? She is just doing the most like father, like a daughter, it seems. Northwest, the 7-year-old daughter of hip-hop heavyweight Kanye West and reality TV star, which you guys all know I love, Kim Kardashian West, has officially made her debut as a rapper. What can this girl not do? Now, during her dad's Season 8 collection of his line called Yeezy at Paris Fashion Week, North completely stole the show with her bars. So let's take a look at it. Only 7 years old.
And then this is.
And we're talking about chores today, hey?
You feel like she doesn't get chores?
You know, that's amazing. If anyone else's child got up in public and behaved like that, that child would be in trouble.
Exactly.
And you would have to take that child home and say, what are you doing screaming? And, you know, if you're going to do something, at least make sense.
Do
but
it
this
right.
child gets to have this. I have to say, nothing against the kid. You know, kids do whatever they see. But I think when it comes to chores, her biggest chore is having that dad.
Yes.
Gotta tell you, that's her biggest chore.
Exactly.
Guys, it's sad though, because like she's always going to be linked to her parents.
Right.
And she's good. I mean, she's exploring herself, but it's just that she has such a big stage to do it. So whatever she does is going to be like, oh, it's Kim Kardashian's daughter.
Right. Other kids do that, like in shopping malls. And then don't make a noise.
Yeah,
exactly.
And they always look at the parents like, how have you raised your kids? You know, your kid is doing that. Like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Not strange then on stage.
But she has a lot of stuff to live up to, you know, like she is, it's always going to be a struggle for her to be an intellectual, for example. They'll be like, that's not going to work in this family.
But I mean, the mom is
going to be
in
tough.
law. She's dabbling in law and she's helping.
Dabbling. What's that word you use?
Okay. She's fully immersed herself. Okay.
Okay, Shem, on to other news, guys. Let's leave the Kardashians for this morning. It's too early for some shady Kardashians. We have some other news from a local star.
Absolutely, man. Now, going from impressing on the stage to disappearing off it, social media has been in stitches from both laughing and cringing at Mzansi rapper AKA's crowd surfing attempt during his recent performance in Rustenburg this past weekend. Now, don't get it twisted. The super mega is absolutely loved and adored by his fans all over. However, I don't think any of them are emotionally and physically equipped to carry him and his ego. Now, he approached the front of the stage and he leaped in hopes that his fans would catch him. Instead, they parted ways like the Red Sea, leaving the rapper to fall flat on the cement. Let's have a look.
Oh, man.
Take a video and they just
yeah, no one's catching him. You're like, I can't hold my phone and you.
That does not make any sense. Oh my gosh,
I have
it's
a
so
lot
funny.
of questions. Have you guys ever tried to crowd surf? You know, in your comedy. I just noticed like Mel Jones at Cape Town International.
Ooh, and then I'll go flying and they'll be like, catch me. No, no. And I weigh a lot. I weigh up enough. so I can't be flying through the air. No.
I mean, the light side of this is that he continued to rap lying on the floor, accepting defeat, as you can see.
Well,
that's
he
him.
wasn't so light.
Shame,
Otherwise, they would have
man.
caught him.
But I feel for him.
Yes.
I feel for him.
Yes, it is sad. But he was making fun, he was making light of the situation on social media, laughing at himself, saying, hey, you know what? It is actually quite funny. What was I thinking? And then he surfed again for the second time, and they knew what to do the second time.
I have to say, as a comedian, my thought is that second time they should have parted, because that'll be the joke. But
that's the punchline.
That's the punchline.
Teaching them lessons. Didn't want to learn a lesson the first time. Let me show.
Let me show you again.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, people are just tripping. People are just falling. Our last story, though, the person who set this past weekend's trend of falling on stage, however, is none other than the queen of media herself, Oprah Winfrey. You get a fall, you get a fall. Everybody's getting a fall. Who took an unexpected tumble while giving a talk in LA for her Oprah's 2020 vision edition, your Life in Focus tour. Now, most people are pointing out the irony that she was talking about being balanced right before she stumbles over her own feet. Let's take a look.
For yourself. Wellness to me means all things in balance. And balance doesn't mean all things are equal or at peace at all times. Wrong shoes.
I'm not laughing.
I'm not laughing.
Let me prove how things are not at peace at all times.
What Oprah?
No, but she's Oprah. Like, you can't, like...
You can't fall as Oprah.
No, but, okay, but can I just say, if you're gonna be Oprah and fall, that is the
That's how you fall.
Yeah, you know, balance, 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 pow. It's like, this is what non-balance feels like, but it's okay, because you know what, we're gonna get up, and we're going to be stronger human beings.
Exactly.
And we're going to get 8 hours of sleep and eat well, and this is going to be a lesson.
And if Oprah talks about anything, she talks about living your truth, and that is the living your truth.
And then goes onto Instagram to quote with Michelle Obama, a whole thing like, oh, I'm icing my leg on a Sunday with a Michelle Obama
With
quote.
Michelle Obama.
That's how you do an Oprah fall.
It's not about how hard you fall, it's about how many times you get up.
Absolutely. So let's stand up for Oprah Winfrey on our entertainment news here. Remember, if you have any stories, connect with us on Expresso Morning Show, SABC3. We'd love to hear all the tea that you have to spill.
So he's been trawling the interwebs looking for those movie trailers that excite him, that could excite us, that should be exciting South African moviegoers. JP Sebastian is back with a few movie trailers and some scary ones at that.
Yes.
It's like horrors are big at the moment. Are you just loving horrors at the moment, or is the world loving horrors at the moment?
I feel like we're all reaching a cataclysmic point in 2020. People are like, climate change.
Yeah, is it all going to end?
The rise of fascism.
But some good movies thrown into the mix there. Talk me through Nina Wu.
Looks super compelling. Did the rounds at the Cannes Film Festival, and while there's no date for it in South Africa just yet, hopefully we get it on like small, I don't know, tiny festival stuff, whether it's from its, countries or, that kind of thing. Nina Wu, if you're into stuff like Black Swan, Natalie Portman.
Oh, dark, okay.
It's this character who is an actress desperately trying to make the break. And she's done lots of tiny bit parts. Oh, look at that, it's all brutally shot. It's like, it reminds me of Driver, but actually anything by Nicholas Winding Refn. And she has this shot at a big role that's going to be career-changing. The demands that go with it, however, which always seem superfluous, is that there's a full frontal nude scene and there's a sex scene, and once she shows reservations about that, she gets a big red X through her face. Problem being is that aside from the very, cliche kind of demands of this kind of industry, she's a person who's suffering with mild depression, and all of this compounds with, as well as her dealing with the shame of maybe feeling like she's selling out or whatever, going against her principles. The movie on top of that is super successful and lauded by the press and journalists. I don't think this is going to be interesting just as like a thriller. It really might end up saying a lot interesting about how we consume women in these movies, which are supposed to be, and I'm doing air quotes here, empowering. So there's so much pressure on the next big director or the next big actress to do the thing that's going to tell the story about this plight or this difficulty. But at the same time, like, that's really ruthless work, and to treat someone like a tool, like a mechanic, like an instrument, well, maybe you can drive them a bit batty, and I think that Nina Wu will prove that point.
Yeah, asking some very important questions about where the film industry is at the moment. Saint Maud, what's that about?
So A24, the production studio, there you can see it at the bottom of the poster. This is the one that the hipsters go wild for, and there's very good reason for that, because they've given us horrors last year like Midsommar, there was Hereditary.
Oh, wow.
They've given you beautiful art house movies like Moonlight. They've done horrors like Under the Skin.
They're phenomenal.
Everything they do knocks it out of the park, and Saint Maud is already been lauded by critics as one of these horrors that's going to reinvent horror. Just by the way, for anyone watching, I've sanitized all of these videos, so the most scary stuff is taken out, and all the gore and all that kind of nonsense. So Saint Maud is the young lady who is, she becomes a carer for someone who is on their last legs in a way, seen herself out of life. She doesn't believe in God. She just, you can see she casually smokes cigarettes even though she's already in bad health. And the young lady who she invites into her home is kind of, I wouldn't say religious, she's more just an obsessive person who clearly has her own nuts and bolts to deal with. But she has convinced herself that it's her cosmic mission to save this lady's soul, even though this lady, like I said, disbelieves. And what's interesting about these kinds of horrors for me is, like, the character is not aware necessarily that they're the bad guy, but the obsession sort of builds and snowballs until it's, stuff hits the fan and it's all too late. A bit like the end of Carrie, for example, and that's also what it kind of reminded me of. But it looks really pretty.
Yeah, it looks very atmospheric. No, don't do that. Ah, are you kidding me?
Yeah, so there's plenty of self-flagellation because she believes that she actually embodies the spirit of God. So the body means nothing, pain means nothing. That's all temporary. It's all down here on Earth, and all that matters is the mission. So clearly,
I thought you said you sanitized that. I don't know. Come on, man.
This was on
Come on,
a
man.
shoe.
The supernaturals, and then dare we say his name once? Candyman. Twice. Candyman. Coming.
So the story being, of
Can
course,
I say it a third time?
You have to be looking at your reflection in the mirror. It's just fine.
Candyman is back.
Yes. 1992 was the first time it was around. Tony Todd was the Candyman. I think people will be pleased that Tony Todd is reprising his role.
Oh, really?
As the Candyman. Yes. Although in this trailer you don't see him once. Obviously they've just got a tease for a bit for now.
Yeah,
so remake of the 1992 movie, the urban legend being that if you look in a mirror and you say Candyman, Candyman, Candyman 5 times, he makes an appearance, and that was the last time you said anything. So it follows this photojournalist who takes this particular interest, and he's not sure why, but he's drawn to Cabrini Green, which is this area which is filled with projects, houses, and so it's obviously got like a sad, impoverished history, as well as having Candyman apparently prowling the neighborhood in its past, but it's been gentrified, as you can see. You've got a slick little art gallery there all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And his obsession
So
in the way
hot right now.
Just yeah, it's like becomes that sort of thing. Lady has the right idea, by the way. Just don't say Candyman.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And then you're going to have like a 10-minute movie on your hands. But all goes to his head, and the student desperately tries to research why people are still obsessed with this lore, this urban legend, and his own exhibition becomes this place where he makes victims of these people. So in a way, he becomes Candyman too, as you're seeing right there. But it seems like Tony Todd will make an appearance. We'll probably see by the second trailer or something like that.
Is there a release date for that?
That is June the 12th in South Africa. I think a lot of people have high hopes for it, obviously, because Jordan Peele's name is attached to it. The dude who gave us Get Out and Us.
Yeah.
He's the producer. However, the director is Nia DaCosta. People get this right. It's not Jordan Peele who's directing. But his name being on it, maybe you've got something good in
got
hand.
a stamp of approval.
Or in hook or something like that.
Oh, well, I think we can see our reflection in the camera lens there. Candyman, Candyman.
Don't do it.
I won't say. I won't. No, I won't. Can't ever. But that's what's got JP excited about what we've seen in our movie trailers. You can let us know what is exciting you. Maybe send us a trailer that he can review the next time he's on.
Tell me the tiniest horrors even.
Ooh.
Now it's time to find your smooth fame and fortune with Tropica. By Tropica, follow the entry details on the pack and stand a chance to win your share of 1 million rand in prizes, such as a trip with KLM to Amsterdam, LG G8 phones, TVs, dishwashers, guest vouchers, watches and accessories, plus the smooth grand prize of a Suzuki Ignis.
Now, the more Tropica you buy, the more chances you have to win. T's and C's apply and can be found on tropica.co.za. Now, if you missed the first episode of #Tropica Island of Treasure Curacao last night, you were out like I don't know what you were doing, but catch the repeat on Saturday, the 7th of March at 8 p.m. only on SABC3. Nothing smoother. We are going to take a quick break, though. We'll see you on the other side.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show right here on SABC3. This is the Expresso Morning Show. It's a Wednesday, the 4th of March. It is Hump Day, everybody. Thank you for choosing us to start off your morning. Now, before you head to work, you know there's a time in the day which most of us are often struck by, and that's the 3 p.m. slump. It's within those few post-lunch hours that our attention span takes a drastic halt and our bodies simply aren't bothered to move. Luckily for us, there is hope, and with the right care and lifestyle habits, we can overcome that 3 p.m. slump. We chat to Dr. Tebatso Tebeila on how we can actually beat that 3 p.m. slump. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, earlier on I was like, you know what, it seems like every morning I have so much energy during the morning time, but once we reach the afternoon, it goes downhill. We often feel drained and out of energy. Why is that?
I think most of the time it's because in the morning you've just rested. So you have a bulk of your energy right there. And then you get to eat your breakfast and you take your coffee sometimes. And then most of us are very energetic and up to work throughout the day, just early in the morning. And then obviously after lunch, we have a good lunch, a heavy lunch.
Yes.
And then what happens is that all the good blood is diverted from the vital organs like your brain especially to your stomach where it needs to digest that lunch. So that's why you end up feeling a bit tired after a heavy lunch. And of course all that sugar perhaps from your coffees and your cereals is also just dropping down, so you feel a bit out of energy towards the end of the day.
That's very interesting. Is that what we call itis, the itis
Yes,
after you've had
a heavy lunch? Yeah. Because,
I mean, we deal with a lot of stress and work and family and so many things in life outside of work as well. How does that now affect our stress levels and our energy levels?
Yes, so I mean, stress and physical activity and all those things are part of normal day-to-day lives. So what we do need to do is ensure that we do the right things to ensure we don't run out of energy. We have sustained energy throughout the day. So, I mean, eating right, staying hydrated, getting enough rest, and of course, physical activity to ensure that our hearts are healthy enough to pump good blood to all our organs. So, I mean, that's one of the ways we can manage all the stress.
And I just want to expand a little bit more on that note on how we can sustain our energy throughout the day with regards to the diet that we consume and like working out as well. What kind of foods or nutrients should we be focusing on?
We should be taking relatively all the food groups, so good amounts of carbohydrates and proteins, and of course the vitamins, the necessary minerals that we need to take to ensure our muscles function effectively, our bones, and as well as the blood that flows through our veins to the heart and to the rest of our organs as well is good. So there's usually ways into which you can design a healthy diet based on selecting from the food groups.
Yeah. And then with regards to supplements and taking tablets to help us with our energy, would you recommend that?
Oh, yes, definitely. So you just mentioned that, you know, we need to know how to select our foods. Most of the time we're not eating well, and not by choice. It's just that some of the foods we consume...
Lifestyle also.
Yes, we don't know exactly what they have, or maybe it doesn't have sufficient nutrients to support us. So supplements are primarily for that, to supplement our diets. So they give us the added vitamins, minerals, a bit of the good stuff that helps us go through the day and have sustained energy levels.
Thank you so much for joining us. I think this is a very important conversation that we need to have, considering that we have fast lives and we don't really have time to just sit back and focus on what we consume and put in our bodies to help us sustain our energy for the long run. Now, for some good news, 2 lucky viewers have the chance to win a gym membership to the value of 5,000 Rand with Vitathion, so you can activate your #Beast mode. Reply to the Vitathion competition post on the Expresso Facebook and Twitter page and tell us why you need Vitathion to help boost your energy levels. Now, our competition closes on the 25th of March 2020 at midnight, and terms and conditions do apply and can be found on the expressoshow.com. Once again, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Activate your beast mode with Vitathion.
Oh, thank you so much for that. I think I might need a little something now. I'm feeling like the 8:30 slump kicking
I
in
feel
here.
like I almost died now. You watched me die. I didn't feel I had me cough, but I was literally gasping.
Are you all right?
I'm
you
fine.
okay?
This was my worst nightmare.
It's a worst nightmare because she's snacking on our foods here. We've got some delicious snacks that are ready for a road trip. Getting out of town for a long weekend away with the family can be a wonderful experience, but the drive to the destination can often be a little bit much longer than it actually needs to be, especially if you have kids in the back. So today we're going to share a few awesome road trip hacks that will make your journey that much easier. And we've got some really cool ones, things that I hadn't thought of that I'm amazed at, some simple stuff that's sitting right under your nose as we speak. So I'm going to kick it off. Something that it's like a pet hate of mine, and this maybe you can do just generally, but in your cup holders in your car, they can get so dirty and filled with like, so put a little cupcake, like the little cupcake holders in the bottom there, so those collect the dirt, so you've got drinks coming in and out, because if you're driving long trip, it's a lot of different drinks, it's a lot of food in and out, so you want to kind of protect that area, keep it sanitary, so that's a great idea. And you know, obviously the bacteria fest that happens in there gets removed and thrown away. I love that.
Like that.
With sandwiches, okay, and it might stand to reason, but stay away from like the soggy ingredients. Don't put things in that an hour later when you open it in your car, it's going to be all soggy. Stick to things that, you know, like chicken, ham, salami, pickles. You don't want to turn your sandwich into a mush when you do it. And if you've got the wetter ingredients, keep them separately in a little Tupperware, and then you can add them when you make the sandwich in the car.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later. One thing I learned on a road trip, and I feel like sometimes this is an underrated thing, it's the flask, because it's so old school, like Oma and Opa would actually do it, but there's nothing like going on a road trip with a hot, warm cup of coffee, dunking your rusk into it, and that's just like a nice little breakaway. And of course, that. Yes, and then packing a little snack box with all your favorites in. You got some grapes, some berries, some biltong, which is my favorite go-to snack. We have some fruit, some wine gums as well, and that's.
And using the tackle box is brilliant.
Yes.
You can keep things separate. Stuff doesn't mix. Really, really, really nice. And you can even throw in some cubitos. I would put some cubitos in one of those. I'd move the biltong across and throw in my cubitos. I love that. I would take out
the sweets, because sweets on a road trip with kids is a nightmare, because then they're going to be like,
that's for the grown-up, and you protect the tackle box in the front, and you hand out your ration supplies as you go. Obviously, there is going to be rubbish contained, and like you have a packet like somewhere in the back, bottom of the car, and then it's being kicked around people's feet. Make your own little dustbin. You take a cereal container, and you put a packet in it, and it's simple, easy, sanitary, awesome. When it's done, you open it and you can take the packet out. I absolutely love that. And then this is something I hadn't thought of, but with little ones, you want to kind of keep them entertained in the back. You can create a little workspace, just a baking tray or any tray for that matter. Can put their paper on there, they can draw, they can have their crayons, it's not going to fall off as you're driving around. They can also eat on this, prevents all the crumbs. So just a little simple baking tray could really, really create a beautiful child's workspace. I love that.
And then I think also with regards to this, like being fruit savvy, because sometimes you want to give them like oranges, and then you have to peel everything.
And
so think of like
sticky fingers all over,
like
for sure.
Grapes, bananas, or something that like once they're done eating, they can
berries,
berries in, and then use your little container over there. I like that as well. And then also water bottles. You know, sometimes you have 20 water bottles and you want to be reuse them again. So get a nice little water bottle, fill it up, keep it as cold as possible, and then when you're on your road trip, you can just drink it.
You have I mean, they say you should always have like a big, like a 5-litre bottle of water in your car anyway, from a safety perspective. You just keep refilling it when you need to, and then you're reducing your impact. I love that. Have a good playlist, I would recommend, and you and the whole family can weigh in. And with you can have Baby Shark, then a song that you like, then Baby Shark, then a song that you like. I love that, and I would throw into the mix as well a car sick kit, just in case, because if kids are eating and stuff, so have nausea pills, rehydrate, aspirin, and it goes without saying that should be going along with a fully stocked first aid kit. Just some of our hacks, but we'll put the rest of them on social media as well. You can have a little bit of fun with that, and whatever you do, don't forget your kubutos, because they are the best snacky snack ever. Road trips can be fun. They can also also be your worst nightmare if you're not prepared. So take a bit of time and effort and make sure your car is equipped to cater for everyone. And while you're at it, and you can save some money in the process as well. Take some of your own food. Make sure that you're not stopping and buying food en route. It is a money saver. But if I had to offer you one particular flavor of the cubitos to take with you, would you go with the smoked beef? Would you go with the chutney?
Chutney.
With the sour cream and chives? Okay, you
Chutney.
just please don't choke on it.
I will.
I'll go with the smoked beef.
And then he'll give me a Heimlich
Yes,
maneuver.
yes.
Clover cheese is for those who love life, where everything falls into place and melts away our cares. Clover, for the love of cheese.
Made with love by Clover.
I'm struggling. Can you open the opening? Yes.
You've got to don't
Here we
hold
go.
me back. Good, Claire. Please come here because you've earned yourself a cubito. You've got a whole packet, actually. I'm sorry, you were the last person
You called
here.
out my name. You're like, Kuhle.
Kuhle, please, just come.
Stay away from
That's for
beef.
you, love. I got the smoked beef flavour because I've earned it.
I love
We
this
were
one,
going
sour
through pretty
cream and onion.
hacks for if you're taking a road trip, so we've got a whole lot of really cool,
this
brilliant
looks so
ideas.
cute.
I know, it's really, really cool.
Pretty, right?
It looks so delicious.
Oh, that is nice.
Very nice. Cheesy. Cheesy.
I love cheese. Cheese is like my favorite thing.
Go-to snack as well.
Absolutely love cheese, love my cubitos. Little added flavour bonus there as well. But yeah, plan ahead, guys. If you're going to take a road trip, you've got to do it.
Clover cheese is for those who love life, where everything falls into place and melts away our cares. Clover, for the love of cheese.
Made with love by Clover. Only you can make my day.
I've never met someone with a heart like this.
He embodies what it means to be selfless.
Even when I was in a state of panic, she showed me true bravery.
Often the bravest people don't see themselves as others do. Join us in celebrating these brave heroes. Nominate the pharmacists and healthcare professionals in your community making a real difference and stand a chance to win 5,000 Rand.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Happy birthday, a very happy birthday to you.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show, everybody. Ooh.
He's still swallowing
still like, yeah, like it's actually very delicious.
Yes.
I think this is the perfect replacement of a cake because we're about to wish you, our loved and loyal viewers, a very happy birthday. It is the 4th of March. If you're celebrating your birthday, you are celebrating with Kay Michelle, who was also born today. Best known by her stage name, Kay Michelle. She's an American singer, songwriter, and television personality. She recently released an album titled All Monsters Are Human, which ended up at #1 on Billboard Hot R&B albums and reached over 200 million streams. So happy birthday to you, K. Michelle. Continue to slay us with your vocals, man.
Me some K. Michelle. She's just like, she's cute.
What's your favorite K. Michelle song?
I can't get through that song now. But
Okay.
that's na. But anyway, for you, our real celebrities at home, one of them being Kamo Hello. Happy birthday to my grandson. May God bless you with many more years to come. Granny loves you from Neo and your mother, Maureen. Look at that cutie. The fade is in, the hair is fly. So cute for his birthday. And then a happy 32nd birthday to you, Danny. May you be blessed more. Enjoy your special day today.
This one goes to Cindy. Happy birthday to Cindy. Be blessed in the corner where you, shine bright in the corner where you are. This one is from Madi, Alexa, and Ava. Landine is also celebrating her birthday, or his birthday, wishing our only grandson a happy 6th birthday. Keep being as sweet as you are. God bless from Papa Nad and Grandma Cynthia. Happy birthday to you.
Super cute. And then a 24th birthday coming through for Demakatso. May God bless you and give you many more years to come. And this comes from Edwin. Lots of love to you today. And then happy birthday to my best friend Lali Moodley. All the best on your special day. Lots of love from Lechi Govender.
This one goes to Nicole. It's my eldest daughter's birthday today. Happy birthday, Nicole Jacobs. May God bless you with many more good things from your daddy, mommy, Bronwyn, Robin, Rayno, Kurt, and Chiron. Happy birthday to you, Nicole. And lastly, definitely not least,
Alana.
Yes.
I would love to wish my wife, Alana Albertine, a happy big 40th birthday to you. You're the pillar of our family, the women of steel and our rock. I thank you, God, for bringing you into our lives, and may you be blessed beyond measure. Thank you for your dedicated heart and love that you give to us. We love you so much, and this comes from your husband and 2 beautiful children. Happy birthday to you.
That's a special one, though.
That is a special one.
It's Lucian's sister-in-law's birthday. Alana, we hope that you absolutely have a fantastic one today. If you are celebrating your birthday, from us, our wonderful Expresso family, to you, happy birthday.
Okay, sweetie, time to blow out your candles.
Don't ruin the moment. Prevent allergies or cold and flu with fast-acting powder nasal spray from the Nexa range. Nexa, brought to you by Pharma Dynamics.
Welcome back to the Culinary Hotline. Bling! Sing, sing, sing. Amagwinya, also known as vet cook, is a delightful, I'm going to say it, delightful South African dish that can be enjoyed with anything. Cheese, bologna, mince, syrup, egg, scrambled egg. Really, really nice. Bacon, jam. It is just one of the most versatile, most amazing South African staples ever. And Chef Chatu is here to show us how to make the perfect amagwinya and also answer a very important question, because it looks easy to make, but it's not always the easiest thing to make. You want it to come out perfectly, but sure, there is a tendency for it to get a little bit stodgy or a little bit heavy or maybe too oily. So I'm gonna start with a comment or a question that came through from Limpo Lilian Chukuru. So Limpo, thank you so much for connecting with us. I think this came through on our Facebook page. She says, my fat cakes, aka magwinya, comes out heavy. What am I doing wrong? Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Well, anyway, so a couple of things are going to be important. Getting your flour and your water ratio correct as well, because if you make it too wet, it's not going to be able to hold itself, and it's going to sort of leach out.
Okay.
So that's going to be very important to get those ratios. And again, you don't want it too hard, because obviously you're not going to get the wonderful lightness, that softness to it. But, that all really aside, I think to me the most important thing actually is your oil.
Okay.
To make sure, your oil is hot enough, and again, but also at the same time, you're not too hot.
Because she says, she adds here, though the first one comes out nicely.
Okay, so well, I tell you exactly where her problem is. There is your first batch. You go in and you put into oil. Oil's lovely and hot, and off you go. Boom, boom, boom. Life, little fluffy. Amagwinya is what you've got. Then she's going in to make her next batch, and the oil has not got back up to temperature. I cannot emphasize, allow the oil to get back up to temperature again before you do your next batch. And fewer at a time, then more. Don't try and sort of just throw everything in here.
Too much of that heat
Absolutely.
out. So take the time, take the love. How do you know when the oil's at the right temperature?
Oh, okay. So, I mean, it's quite difficult on here. Don't put your finger in here, because it's going to be at 180 degrees, but that's where you want it. I mean, ideally, a thermostatic fryer. What I always suggest is put it on, and if you've got gas, it's a little bit more easier to control. If it's electric, put it on to setting number 4, number 5, and that's it. Don't put it on to number 6 and then leave it on number 6 and then start trying to turn it down. Put it to 5, and over a period of time, bring it up to temperature as well. You can always take a little bit of dough just to see that it is sort of going there just now. Absolutely.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, well, let's get cracking and
But let's start with the dough.
How to make it.
Absolutely.
Show us how to make
flour is the basic, and then dried yeast. So dried yeast to one side, and I think actually not so long ago I said make sure your yeast and your salt at
that
other
will
ends.
kill that.
There we go. Good.
Okay.
And then some sugar, because that's going to be a bit of food for the yeast to get going.
Okay.
All right, and then we can just make a little bit of a well in the center, and then some water. If you want to speed up the process, slightly warmer water. Obviously, make sure you can hold your finger in it, because obviously blood temperature. You don't want more than that, because otherwise you're going to kill the yeast.
Kill the yeast again. You've got to remember that your yeast is a little living thing that needs to be
absolutely
nurtured to grow.
Oh, you were listening on the show the other day, weren't you? Or a few weeks ago when we did that.
Come in. I'm going to use that dad joke. That's going to be my kitchen dad joke for life.
It's a terrible dad joke kind of thing, isn't it? Anyway, whoopsie. Add your water into here, but don't add all of it as per the recipe. You can always add in more as you go along there.
You can't go backwards.
You can't go. You don't want to really go backwards. So keep adding that on, and then keep mixing that until it comes to a dough. Once it all comes to a dough, then knead it on the surface for about 20 minutes.
Okay.
If you have the luxury of a
kind of spread that.
Exactly. If you have the luxury of a mixer, pop it into a mixer, and off you go. Once you've then made your dough, so we can just swap that over, your dough's going to be a much smaller ball, and just cover it with a little of cling film, and then you want to allow it to double in size.
Leave it to prove.
Leave it to prove.
How long does that normally take?
So again, it depends on your temperature of your water. If your water is warm, it's going to be a lot quicker. If it's in a warm place, it'll be quicker. But if it's in a cooler environment, you know, I don't know what's the weather doing. There's no windows. You know, it depends on what it's like outside there. You know, is your kitchen warm? Is it cold? So all those factors come into.
The key thing is that it must have doubled in size.
Absolutely. Cool. And then from there, just knock that back, and you can see how it sort of shrinks back into basically nothing. At the end of the day, so leave it double in size, which you saw there. You can see how lovely and smooth it is. When you actually, to know that it's actually kneaded sufficiently, that it actually shouldn't tear. All right, so if it's lovely and smooth, you've stretched out the glutens. All right, but again, lovely and smooth, you've kneaded sufficiently for you then to do your lovely little fit cooks. All right, and then from there, all you need to do, I always say, you know, you can cut this in half or just take a piece
with your practiced hands.
With your practiced hands.
That's cool.
Like that to get the perfect. So you want to get that wonderful smooth shape there, because it's also going to affect your overall outcome. So that's out there, nice and smooth, and then literally with your thumb and your index finger, get it behind that dough there.
And that gives you the perfect portion size. Yeah.
Nip it. Portion size again. Consistency is absolutely key here. Yeah, you can just. Sorry, you can just cut it up as well if you wanted to, and just create little balls as well, both onto the counter. Make them work.
You create that perfect size, and I like that. I like the size of these fits. I know some people going for like a massive fit cook or whatever, but this is perfect.
Absolutely.
You can eat more this way. The key word is eat. You SMS eat to 33728, and you can be creating your fit cook at home beautifully, deliciously. Okay, so we're going to click start now.
Just talking very quickly early on, you're talking about, you know, is your oil hot enough? Just take a little piece and pop that in, and let's have a quick squiz. And you can see that is plenty hot enough to get going there.
Okay.
So let's just take those very carefully. Please don't drop them in, because the oil's going to go everywhere.
It's going to pop up.
Just pop them into there.
And don't overfill your pot.
Absolutely. I mean, few at a time is the way to go on that there.
Oh, I absolutely love it. That keyword again is eat to 33728. Then you'll SMS that, you get a sent a link, you click on the link, then the recipe is yours, and then you can start creating. And then once you've got this beautiful base, you can take it anywhere. What's your favorite filling?
Oh, well, you know what we made earlier? That shushka. Imagine that. Oh, I mean, there we can go like that.
Come on.
Oh, indeed.
Yolk breaking, absolutely beautiful. Chef Chart, thank you so much, my friend.
Absolute pleasure, thank you.
Some absolute gems today. I love it. From vanilla in the oven to kitchen staples and how to make the best amagwinya. Our culinary hotline team is here to help you in any way we can in the kitchen with any of those conundrums or any recipes, cooking methods, just advice. We love to continue that conversation on our Facebook page. So you go there right now, post your questions, and most importantly, post pictures of your amazing fit cook this morning and what you are filling it with.
I absolutely love how G approached that word, amagwinya.
I'm a in the
Iguinya. I grew up eating iguinya, fed cook, but I thought that was a bunny chow when it has mince inside. It's a controversial conversation, so maybe let's not unpack it just now.
My nana makes the best fed cook. I miss her so much right now, but I like the fact that the experts always give like their honest opinion and give you any tips. And speaking about experts, tomorrow on the show, we're talking all things breastfeeding in our baby talk. It's something that all mothers go through. It's a lot of struggle. It is a very sensitive topic. But of course, if you have any questions or if you want to provide information that helped you through your breastfeeding journey, head on over to our social media as well, Expresso Morning Show, SABC3. We will be answering those questions tomorrow in our baby talk to do, baby talk to do, baby talk to do.
Money, money. Money, money. Money, money.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. It has been a wonderful show. Thanks largely to these wonderful human beings who have joined us.
Yeah. You're so welcome.
No, really, it's been so cool that you've stuck around for the entire show. You did it, man. You did the 3 hours.
We tried to leave several times.
The van's blocked in.
We actually parked it in on purpose. So we're going to have a little bit of fun here. Very, very quickly, we're going to play a game of Kiss, Marry, Dump. You guys are going to get all judgy with the ladies. So we're going to give you 3 options. Okay,
some of them are going to be men judging women. Shocking.
No, okay.
We're not used to that. Shocking.
You can talk about it in book club later. We will give you 3 choices, and it's all in the kind of comedic space. Then you've got to write down who you would, obviously, kiss, marry, or dump, and then we.
I'm concerned that Cindy's already making choices and writing things down without having seen anything.
Irrespective of the fact that we know or we don't know.
So we put up a screen in studio that you ladies can then see. Let's kick it off in the category of all-time best comedians. Who would you kiss, marry, and dump between Richard Pryor, Robin Williams, and Chris Rock?
2 of them are dead, so that's an easy.
Well, how do we know who's? Okay, I'm just going to write the name and.
Breakfast show, man.
So sorry. Well, 2 of them have passed away.
I'm so glad he went dark on that one.
Yeah. Went to the danger zone.
No. Yeah, I should be in the danger zone.
All right.
No, wait, I'm not ready.
Oh, sorry.
What was
You're
the
not
third
ready,
category?
but you started before
Dump.
the show.
Oh, no, I already did dump.
It's the best thing you could.
Oh.
It says a lot about a person that you would. The first thing you would
She
do is
opened
dump.
with dump.
Do I
She
have
opened with
to?
dump.
But what? Okay. Well, you know what? I'm just going to do what I want. Let's go.
Well, you,
Yeah,
such
there you
as you're
go.
right. You are the,
Yes.
the one with the
Everything's riding on
white
this
board.
Sydney. You can't afford to mess up this decision.
But I mean, I don't have to marry or dump. I can have the same categories. She's like, shut up. Let's go. All
Okay.
right.
Wow. Okay. So we'll start with you, Jamie.
I would dump that guy. Who's the guy? That one?
Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor, the
Richard
greatest
Pryor.
comedian who ever
You
lived.
would dump one of the greatest
I don't
of
think-
all time.
I don't think you would be that worried that you dumped him.
I
to
dumped
be
him because I
honest.
didn't know who
And then
he
you
was.
would marry
I would
Robin?
marry Robin just because he was beautiful. So, and I'd kiss.
You've written you'd kiss dump.
I'd kiss.
I'm judging you harshly. You've written option-free
You really
kiss
don't know
dump.
how this works, do you? You're supposed to pick there.
Sorry.
I would kiss the dumped one. No, I don't know if I buy that. I don't think you realize who Richard Pryor is.
He's the
I think
greatest
that's
of all
why
time.
you
But
wrote that. You don't understand. He carries historic significance in comedy. He
You've
is.
really taken Judge the Women to
And you
heart.
take-
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's
I don't often get the
understand
chance,
you.
and I'm going to run with
They
it.
are really young. So who do you would kiss, Chris? Oh,
Kiss
he's
Chris.
winning.
Dump Richard and
Yeah.
kiss Robin. You can't do double kisses.
You can't.
I can kiss whoever I want, how many times I want.
Yes, Mama.
Very
nice.
Very serene.
Love that.
That's very serene.
Yeah, and I'm not married. Marrying is it's
a
hard.
commitment
I know.
for that,
I've
yeah.
been married 22 years. It's hard,
Okay.
and I'm not just picking one of these three for that.
Would you kiss Chris and Robin at the same time? Is it a sort of...
No.
Hey.
No,
This is a breakfast
morning
show.
You can have a little bit like...
You went
in a
back to the
polite-
danger
In a
zone.
polite way.
What I notice is everyone wants to kiss Chris. And it's funny because he had a show literally called Everyone Hates Chris.
Yes.
And everyone wants to kiss Chris.
Of course you want to kiss him.
We want to kiss him because
Okay.
everybody hates Chris.
Okay.
I
Enjoyed
also
that
feel like
show.
the pictures that they put up there
Okay.
is all
Quickly,
like...
do you give us you kissing Chris? Obviously, you want to
You're going
marry
to marry Robin?
Yes.
I buy that.
Pryor is sitting like Lionel Richie.
Two people are dumping Richard Pryor.
I'm so sorry.
Well, I think, well, you know what? I think you dump someone that you don't feel safe around. And didn't he famously set himself on fire? Can you imagine if I was around there? I don't want any part of that.
Okay, very. I wish we could get through more, but
I know.
You're only doing one?
We can do one
the
more.
song's almost over.
Can't
You
we do
know-
a kiss
Okay,
dump?
I-
We're gonna do a kiss
So
dump.
I just want to say now, I would kiss Graham, I would marry Alonso, and I would dump myself.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's typical English self-deprecating.
Oh,
it's so
man.
amazing. Can we do a kiss dump, Mary, on these two?
Please,
Quickly.
just very quickly.
Oh no, we're doing them. Oh, sorry, much
Okay,
more
she's
interesting.
got three.
No, I
Which
can't.
one are we doing?
Oh
Quickly.
my God.
I say you do
Oh,
it.
you guys.
All right.
No, I'm doing this.
This is
one,
going to
sorry.
hurt. This is going to hurt.
I know, Jamie, you would
See where
dump
this
me,
is
eh?
going already.
I would dump you. I would...
You're not even writing this down. This is just right to our
To
faces.
the
You would kiss
faces.
Alonso. Come on, yeah. Come
No,
on.
I
Jamie,
can't say this.
go ahead,
No, it's
fire
fine.
away.
I'm
I
fine
won't
not
be
to say
hurt.
this.
You go.
Like my old school trainers.
I like your... I would kiss your sneakers.
Well, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
just
so you
got
have to do
weird.
don't marry, kiss, and then an item
So
of
that
clothing.
no, but no, I'm going to hold you to an answer. Answer for the three of us. You
I'll
would dump.
answer after 9 o'clock, okay? Because my fans might be watching.
Oh, man. Guys, that is all the time we have for. It has been so lovely having you guys in studio. All the best of luck. Break a leg.
Thank you.
And enjoy
Thank
it.
you.
Of course, web tickets is where you can get tickets. Cape Town Comedy Festival.com is where you can get all of the information. We love you guys for coming and spending your morning. We love you guys just as much. We'll see you best part to do it all over again tomorrow. Adios. Mwah.
Bye.
Expresso Show, made with love by Clover. Another feel-good production.